There's a Kick streamer whose name I've treated like Voldemort over the last year or so. I've never bothered talking about her because that's the only thing she cares about is her name leaving people's lips, no matter how negative it is. She exists for one sole purpose, to make everyone around her angry at her. It's in her delusional mind, the brain parasites tell her that that's a good thing. So I've just never bothered insulting her or making fun of her because that's like having sex with a cuck's wife. It's exactly what they want. But today she did something particularly heinous.
Right?
No.
No. All right. You know why I wasn't going to? Because my feet were getting
You should
hot.
just jump in right now.
But I'm gonna jump in with my shoes on.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Ready? Oh! Wait, what the fuck?
I love how she's somehow surprised that the lady jumped in after she spent the better part of 15 minutes trying to convince her to jump in and even tried to bribe her with $20 to do so. And now all of a sudden she's fucking soy-facing, shocked that the lady actually did it. So I went back and I watched most of the stream, which was... I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. Now, she's gone viral in the past for other degenerate activity, such as wearing painted-on pants at a gym, or doing a kidnapping children prank and faking a ton of shit around all of her other work to try and cause as much controversy as possible to farm clout off of it. But this one is a little bit different. So, the lady she had jump in is someone who apparently cannot swim. She said that she can only float and can't swim. And I initially thought that this was just more staged, phony baloney, garbage. But from a couple of the articles I read, they're reporting that the fire department in the area really did pull a woman out of that lake on this day. So it does seem like it's real.
Yeah, do you want to have a play date?
You want to jump in with me?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll do it with you.
I'd rather go skinny dipping with you, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, come on.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll do
Chad,
it.
They're all saying you're sexy and shit.
Really?
Yeah, they're all saying W woman, she's thick as fuck. You should jump in the water to find it for me.
Well, why don't you jump in with me?
I'll give you $20.
$20?
Yeah, that's a W.
No, come
that's
on,
a good deal.
jump in with me.
$20.
Hot.
Yeah, so you go in.
No, you gotta go in.
You
with
go
me.
in. You try to find the
You
scanner.
said you're gonna jump in with me.
I'll jump in after you.
We're jumping together.
The Kick streamer is on a scavenger hunt trying to locate the final Dragon Ball so she can finally make a wish to be something other than the failure that she is, and she encounters this woman who's on the dock. And she tries to convince that woman to jump in the water to look for the tracker that she's trying to hunt. So she's putting on a fucking Shark Tank pitch here, saying that she'll give the lady $20 to jump in, and that, oh, she'll follow once she jumps in, this and that, and then basically is just trying to farm her for content so that way the stream can laugh at this lady jumping in the water when the streamer never had any plans of doing so. And their interaction lasts like 10-ish minutes before the lady jumps in the water, and it seems as though she's quite vulnerable. So it's extremely fucking sad to see her being exploited by this Kick degenerate here and put into a position that's life-threatening because allegedly she can't swim, which is why the fire department eventually got called, which you do see on stream a bit later.
Did you see her ass? What? Oh,
You said it was okay.
You said you wanted to swim.
You told me to jump in.
I didn't tell you to jump in.
Yes,
Yeah, you did.
did.
Just
You said you were gonna.
Thank you guys. We're gonna have you guys get off the stop.
Wait, who is that? What the fuck is going on? We should... I don't even...
I can't swim. I can only float.
Oh, she might literally die.
No, stop. Seriously, don't stop. Please, you're actually freaking me out. No, please.
You can really see the concern wash over each of their smiling faces as they're confronted with the very real possibility that that woman might drown and die because of the streamer's actions. I really wish this streamer had stuck with her OnlyFans as opposed to trying to pivot her career into just being an absolute insufferable piece of shit. I know her OnlyFans was flopping harder than Morbius, but by God, I mean, it might save lives if she had just stuck with it. The butterfly effect you can never fully comprehend until it's too late. So anyway, the woman that she has prodded into jumping in the water is now saying that she can't swim, and they're laughing about it because she might die, and to them that's hilarious. They can't stop giggling like someone's over there tickling their armpits. It's craziness. Like, the dude comes over and he's like, She might die. Fucking the camera goober over here is so excited. Like he's like zooming in, trying to get like the last moments of like the air that she'll get from the surface before she goes under. Praying that maybe this is the moment that he's able to bond close enough to the streamer where she might give him a peck on the cheek and thank him for his service. Like, she is surrounded by these henchmen that orbit her, just swarm her like mosquitoes on a pile of dog shit. And this is something that was prevalent throughout the entire stream. They're literally just there to try and have sex with her, is what it seems like. No one enjoys being around her. They don't like her company, from what I can tell.
Yeah, we have like phones and stuff, so that would friggin' suck.
Would you be able to hold this for 1 minute? No. Is it because you're afraid of getting called a simp?
Yeah, 'cause I don't like it.
They're saying you're alpha male. You're not a simp.
Not.
Yes, they are. They're saying alpha. Everybody's saying alpha male, alpha male.
Okay.
Sorry to say, brother, but I've got to diagnose you with a very severe case of simp. You might not like it, but it's a tough pill to swallow. That is literally what you are. Textbook definition. All of the insects that are around her fall into that category. When I went through and watched the stream, all of them seemed like perpetually annoyed by her, but were trying their best to hide it. And they're used as punching bags by her and her community to laugh at them and insult them. Like, how could, like, it's so pathetic. It's not just her that's pathetic. It's the people that surround her, too.
Please, God. No, she's floating.
She's drowning.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself. She says she's drowning.
Oh, this is bad.
We leave.
Oh, this is bad.
Invaluable assistance provided by her and her team of dweebs. They just read chat messages and laughed at it. Which obviously is helping her get to safety. She's out there drowning, but luckily all of the chat messages that the streamer and her team were reading were helping lift her to the surface and carry her to shore. They just fucking left. They recognized what was going on. They recognized the very real possibility that this woman might die, and they just said, alright, I'm out, ski. Time to bounce. We're gonna scram now. Good luck. And they just leave her there. That's fucking insanity. And they laugh about it because people like her don't treat the other human beings around them as if they're real people. To her, everyone else is just an NPC, a prop that she can use for content and nothing else. That's the extent of their presence in her world. And once they've outlived their usefulness, she doesn't care about them, which is why she clearly doesn't give a fuck that that woman might drown out there, because she doesn't even view them as a person. That was just a piece of content for her, so she has no qualms about just leaving.
She says she's drowning. She says she's drowning.
I think you literally just murdered a lady.
No, I didn't. I swear.
I think you literally.
No, I didn't. Let's go. There, she's drowning in the lake.
God, there's a fire truck. Nah, this is bad.
Like I said, I was initially skeptical when I saw this clip blowing up on Twitter because she has a history of faking shit. So I thought this might be another scripted thing just to get some, like, rage clicks to her stream, which I always think is a dumb fucking business decision. But when I went back and watched all of this happen as it unfolded on the stream, this does seem very real, because that fire truck does show up at, like, a very quick time from the second that she gets in the water and other people are, you know, catching on to what just happened, to them telling the streamer and her friends to leave. The fire truck pulls up only a matter of minutes later, so I'm guessing they must have called 911. They sent out the emergency response team to save this lady who can't swim. So it all does seem real. This doesn't seem like it's all just a bunch of fucking smoke and mirrors here as some kind of, you know, ingenious supervillain play from this kick streamer to try and get a couple extra viewers. She is just a piece of shit. She actually would have killed that woman if there weren't others around to call 911. That's unfathomable to me. Not only did she not do anything to help, but the dudes that are with her did nothing to help. All they did was laugh at the situation where someone's life was actually in danger. That's so fucked up.
I did not know she was mentally ill. I thought she was just trying to have fun. I thought she was drunk or something. I don't know what you guys are talking about. What? Wait, why is she just here though? If she's like mentally ill, does she just like roam around the like area? Of course this happens like what? 30 minutes of my stream? Like, I spent time convincing someone to jump. See, now she's just floating in the water. I think she's on drugs.
I just had to toss this little turd nugget in here as a little bonus clip. This is after she convinces the woman to jump in the water and she leaves the dock. She tries to like play the victim here where she's like, "Ugh, of course this happens 30 minutes into my stream. This selfish, mentally ill woman comes up to me and, well, I have to try and exploit her for content, so I convince her to jump in the water and it turns out she's mentally ill. What's she doing here? You know, getting me in potential trouble 30 minutes into my stream. Oh my goodness gracious." Playing the victim is her bread and butter, by the way. That's her signature anime finishing move. She always defaults to playing the victim in every situation that she causes. If I had to give her like one compliment, I'd say that she's talented at being a professional victim. She always does shit like this. So even in this situation, where she even knows she is 100% in the wrong, she goes on Twitter after this all blew up and said, "The lady wanted to swim. They told me to leave and stop filming. That's why we left. And she got the help she needed and is fine. Stop dragging me. Allah." What she did is indefensible, and she knows that. I watched the stream. She mentioned it and wrestled with it in her fucking empty little noodle multiple times about how she might have killed that lady. And she just doesn't care that much about that. All she cares about is whether or not it's going to lead to a viral clip and maybe a couple of extra viewers. That's it. And then she goes on Twitter and is like, "Oh, actually, everything was totally fine. We couldn't help because they told us to leave." They told you to leave because you weren't helping. You caused the problem and then did nothing to actively try and help in any way. So obviously they would want you out of there. You could have still done something to help. You could have called 911. Them telling you to leave doesn't just fucking, you know, launch an EMP that disables all your electronics where you can't dial 911. You could have called for help if you didn't want to actually get in the water and try and help her yourself. Like, it's so stupid. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible excuse. Like, it's not something you can ever possibly make an excuse for, but she still tries to get a couple, like, wah French cries in here, trying to drum up some sympathy for herself, even though she is just a piece of shit. Plain and simple. All she cares about is making people mad, so that way maybe people find her fucking awful streams. That's it. So I bet she is smiling right now. And in fact, I know she is, because I was watching her stream as I was making this video. She's live again. She doesn't care. This is a good thing for her. I think she's seeing more viewers than she was previously, so I bet she thinks this whole thing was absolutely fucking worth it, because she's not going to face any repercussions for this. It doesn't seem like anything's going to come from it, like on a legal side or criminal side or anything like that. So to her, this was just a smart play. Almost killing a woman on Kick for some extra viewers. So yeah, this lady super sucks. I think she is fucking terrible. That's really about it. So yeah. It's been a few years since the last time we took a peek at the Dobray brothers' content. I actually completely forgot about them, but today I was reading about a bunch of teenage girls that were melting down and crying, losing their minds because they thought one of the Dobray brothers, Marcus, had committed suicide. And it's all because of this video here. My twin brother is dead? Now, you may remember a couple years ago, it was actually a pretty popular trend for YouTube pranksters to fake a suicide in order to play an epic prank on their significant other. Of course, it was all fake, the significant others were in on it, but the audience that watches this dog shit is too young to realize that. So when they see things like this, they get really sad. When you scroll into the comments section of this video, it's nothing but these kids going, "I couldn't stop crying, I spilt milk all over my diaper, I was so afraid Marcus got banished to the Shadow Realm," shaking their fist in the sky, "Give him back, God, we need Marcus on this earth." And then they'll make like a reply to their comment like, "Just finished the video, so glad it's a prank, they got me good." And you know, I can't even blame them for being fooled by the Dobray brothers. They're such great actors, I was almost convinced Marcus took his own life. Let's go ahead and check out the video.
I got a letter from Marcus. It says, "Put this on YouTube. I want everyone to know." I guess it's a note from Marcus or something?
I guess so.
I don't know what this is.
This is the most Dobray brothers shit ever. They actually act like they've all been lobotomized. The dude literally says, "I just got a letter from Marcus," and then goes on to say, "I don't know what this is. I guess it's a note from Marcus or something." It's like in fucking 50 First Dates with that guy that can only remember 3 seconds of any sentence. It's fucking crazy. It's clearly there just to like pad out the time of the video to breach 10 minutes, but goddamn, it's infuriating. All their videos are like this too. It just reminds me of Dora the Explorer. "Do you see a bridge?" And then the kids are like, "It's right there, Dora. You're literally fucking looking at it, you dumb idiot. Right there." Like all the Dobray brothers do the same shit where it's like, "This is what it is. It's a note from Marcus." You guys know what this could possibly be? This letter from maybe Marcus?
To my family, Lucas, Mom, Dad, Cyrus, Darius, and everyone else. I just want to say I love you guys so much, and I wanted to write you this letter before I go. I'm gonna miss you so much, but now I'm gone forever.
Are you serious?
Yeah, what is this?
I like how it just starts with put this on YouTube and then goes on to explain that he's no longer going to be living anymore. He's going to commit unalive. Why the fuck would he want that put on YouTube? For the Dobre brothers, everything's content, even seppuku. This would be like if Kurt Cobain in his suicide note was like, hey, by the way, guys, I'm going to film this. If you could go ahead and air this tape on Nickelodeon, that'd be great.
Lucas, please split our money with our family. What is he talking about?
Sounds like a will, bro.
Also, Lucas, you can keep the YouTube channel to yourself. Please don't give up on our fans. They really love us
No.
so much, and we keep them happy.
No.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I also don't know what he's talking about. These two love their fans so much that they convinced him that Marcus died from suicide, an extremely serious topic. An audience that still believes in the Tooth Fairy and Easter Bunny has now been fooled by the Dobre brothers into thinking Marcus took his own life. Get pranked, nerds. Even in the comment section there were a lot of kids saying like, hey, this is a little far, we're glad Marcus is alright, but it's not okay to joke about something as heavy as suicide. So even they were calling them out on it a bit. But, you know, when you watch the video, it's hard not to get invested with an incredible performance like Lucas is able to deliver here.
I left you something in the backyard to remember me. From Marcus, I will see you in the sky. What is he talking about? Hold on, let me check if he's in his room.
When you say that, it means like I'll see you when you're dead.
Really?
Like when we're dead, like I'll see you in heaven.
Hold on, let me check if he's in his room.
Oh no, Lucas is going through the 5 stages of grief here. He's in the denial phase right now. Then of course comes the lit phase for the Dobre brothers, and then the too lit phase, finally the ultra lit phase, and then the 5th stage of grief in the Dobre brothers household. A fat fucking Gangnam Style. They'll probably hit the floss pretty soon as well. It's rough, you know, it's a heavy letter that he received, so he's doing his best to try and process everything in his own way. I'm usually not a fan of spoilers, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get this one out there. In the note he says, I left you something in the backyard. Let me show you what he left them in the backyard.
What is it? Is it?
Alright, now you guys are messing with that.
Like, I swear, I don't know what's going on.
Alright, well, I can tell you one thing. If someone's buried under there, the grass is gonna feel kind of like smushy, and it doesn't really feel smushy at all.
No.
You think he's dead? Nah.
No? How can you write a letter if he's dead?
I don't know. Maybe he did something. I don't know.
A real ace team of detectives here on the case. I just finished LA Noire, streamed all of it, twitch.tv/moistcritical. Come stop by, stream every day, put a few extra inches on your penis. And I can tell you, after investigating so many cases in there, everything they're doing here, textbook. These are some real crack shot here's. Move over, Sherlock Holmes, because the Dobre brothers are coming in. They're going to solve the Zodiac killer, the Black Dahlia murderer. They're going to fucking take everything by storm. This group right here is like the real-world L from Death Note. Their combined intelligence can rival that of the world's greatest minds. I love how they attack this conundrum here and the way they try and deduce whether or not their brother is truly dead and buried there. So the first thing that, I believe his name is Darius, first thing he says is, well, the ground would be smushy, and it's not smushy, and he just kind of like stands on the ground, and he's like, well, I'm not sinking, so it's probably, you know, not smushy. Then the next smoking gun is, wait a minute, if he's dead, how did he write the note? So I like to put myself in this situation here. So let's say I was called to the scene, right? You know, I come up, I got my pipe, and I'm like, so there's a mystery afoot here, you know. I got the mystery gang with me, Scooby-Doo and the crew. So the first thing I'd start asking is, how did this happen? You know, did he have help? Because let's say he truly is buried there, and the perpetrator's got this Party City Halloween decoration tombstone on top of him. How did this happen? Because there's no way he did it himself. If it was truly suicide, he wouldn't have been able to like bury himself alive that deep. It would have been extremely hard, you know? That takes a lot of work, which means there would have been someone helping him, or perhaps foul play and someone murdered him and then forged a suicide note to make it look like a suicide. So, there, you know, I'd start pointing fingers at the entire family. It'd get messy quick.
I don't know. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, Marcus, you in here? Marcus? Marcus? He's not even in there. Is he anywhere else in the house? Let's check.
Alright.
Maybe he's in the backyard or something? Marcus!
If Lucas doesn't win an Academy Award for the performance in this short, then the entire organization is corrupt. This is a stellar performance right here. Up there with some of the greats. This is amazing. Like, when I first watched this, I was on the edge of my seat like, oh my god, Marcus could be anywhere. And Lucas is going to find him. You can hear the desperation in Lucas's voice. You can see how desperately he wants to find his brother, you know? He doesn't want to accept that maybe Marcus has left the corporeal realm. He still thinks there's a chance Marcus is either in his room, hiding under the bed, maybe he's standing in the backyard playing some basketball. But no, Marcus was nowhere to be found.
Should I call my mom and dad?
Because either
Tell my brothers?
yeah, bro, either these things are not good. Either he meant disappearing, like he's gone, and we still gotta go like find him and see why he would decide to do that, or he meant, you know what I mean, like.
Is it serious like that?
Yeah, it is.
The situation's not looking great right now. They've checked Marcus's room, they've checked the laundry room, they've checked the second laundry room, they've checked the third laundry room, they've checked the butler's room, they've checked the second butler's room, they've checked 5 living rooms, they've checked 14 garages, they've checked the backyard, and they haven't found him. Luckily, all hope isn't lost yet. They haven't checked the whole house. They've only done about half so far. They still haven't even gone to the helicopter pad to look for him there, so they've tried calling him to no avail. He didn't answer, which is very uncharacteristic of Marcus, but they've gone to all of his usual hangout spots and they haven't seen him yet, so this is just not looking amazing.
What is it? It's from Marcus. I don't know what it is.
I don't know why he so aggressively snatches the note from Lucas. He's just like, hey, here's a note from Marcus. Fuck, give me that shit. I hate that guy. Marcus? God damn it, fine, I'll read it.
To my family, Lucas, Mom, Dad, Cyrus, Dari, I just want to say I love you guys so much, and I wanted to write you this letter before I go. I'm gonna miss you so much, but now I'm gone forever. You just disappeared. Is there something in the sky?
No, I mean, I didn't go in the backyard yet. But
Yeah, Darius, there is something in the sky. It's called heaven, and Marcus just went up there to make it a little bit more lit. I don't know why no one in this family can just, like, read and comprehend what they're reading. It's like they're reading it out loud, but it's not actually entering their brain. So they just keep, like, repeating the stupidest questions of all time. I understand, again, it's just to, like, pad out the length of the video, but goddamn, it is frustrating.
It's just a prank if you're not even acting worried, like...
I don't know if it's a prank or not.
If my brother left me, I'd be freaking out, like...
I know, I am.
Let's just check the backyard and see what it is, because then we'll know, you know, it's a clue. So where are we going?
The mystery begins to get a bit deeper here, because Darius says, if my brother left me, I'd be worried. But this is your brother, isn't it? I was under the impression they were all brothers, but him saying that has really confused me. Because it seems like that wasn't like him misspeaking. Maybe they really like aren't related. I don't know. But now I'm just fucking lost here in the lore of the Dobre brothers. I'll spare you their little scavenger hunt outside. It's pretty painful. They don't do anything. The most that happens outside is one of them kicks an icicle. And that's about it. So I'll just go ahead and get the ending to you and let you know Marcus is okay. And he even tells us himself.
It sucks. Everyone thinks everything's a prank now. Nah, let's cut the video, bro. Alright, guys, stop. I am not dead. I just wanted to prank my family. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Don't worry. I'm still alive. I love you guys so much. I flew out to LA by myself just to pull off this prank. I can't believe I did it.
What a climactic reveal. The master plan finally unveiled to the audience. And shucks, he got us good. He really did. He had me going. I really thought he had, you know, left this plane of existence. It was just so well executed. And he really committed to the prank. He flew all the way to LA just to pull off this bad boy, the magnum opus of practical jokes. An amazing banger from the Dobre brothers again. I just wanted to share this because I thought it was real silly. That's about it. See ya. I've used Uber and Lyft hundreds of times each, Uber more than Lyft, and I've never had a notably awful experience before. You know, I've never gotten into a car and felt unsafe. You know, I look at my driver and he's wearing like a trench coat and sharpening a hacksaw and then winks at me. I've never had like a really bad time with ride sharing. The only time it got wacky and weird was one time I took an Uber leaving the bar, and on the way home, I was convinced I was in the car with a prophet, like an angel. We were driving on the interstate, just two boys being dudes, and out of nowhere, the Uber driver pulls a prophecy out of his asshole. He said, "This guy's about to hit the median." And at first, I didn't know what he was talking about, and I thought it was like a riddle that I had to solve or something to get money off of the Uber rides. I was like, oh, the answer is time, you know? But then I realized he was talking about the car in front of us, obviously. And it felt really weird to me because the car wasn't doing anything weird. We were behind them for a little while, like maybe a mile or two, and they weren't driving erratically or recklessly. They didn't look like a drunk driver or anything. And then out of nowhere, a couple of seconds after he said that, he like willed it into existence. The car swerved and scraped against the median and then tried to get back into the lane. Out of fucking nowhere. I was like, oh my god, we are living in a simulation. But yeah, that was my weirdest experience with Uber and ride sharing in general. But of course I've seen the horror stories, like the absolutely awful ones, and this is one of those. This is a pretty special one.
You know, I'm just trying to ask you to go to speed limit is all.
I'm saying I'm gonna go.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Don't really know what's going on in her car here. She's created a little crime scene there. Like, stepping into this vehicle looks like you'd be stepping into your neighbor's shitty haunted house on Halloween. It's just really goofy looking. I don't get it. I guess it's supposed to be early Halloween decorations. She's got like a blow-up sex doll in the passenger seat. Or maybe it's there to like prevent her passengers from getting up front. Like, hey, you can't sit there. Clearly, this inflatable Mr. Krabs doll's taking that seat. So just get in the back, alright? You know, I don't even know what the fuck it is. I mean, maybe it's an inflatable clown or something. I couldn't tell you, but it's pretty weird stuff. Now what happened is the passenger asked if they could roll down the window and drive the speed limit, which I think is a pretty reasonable request because this lady's out here driving like it's Grand Theft Auto 5. I was half expecting her to try and ramp this vehicle off of a parked tow truck. She's treating it like it's Fast and Furious universe and she's trying to catch Dominic Toretto. So it's not like the passenger's being an asshole or anything, just asking, hey, can you drive the speed limit so you don't kill both of us here? And that just sets her off. She loses her goddamn mind there. Slow down! Fucking yanks on the e-brake and does a 360. Suck on this, pussy fart! You can hear, like, this tire start screeching. She completely takes her eyes off the road, turns around and starts swiping at the camera like she's a kaiju, like Godzilla trying to knock over a building. And then meanwhile, the passenger's laughing the entire time. The absolute fucking dick on this man. The fucking balls of pure adamantium to laugh through an experience like this is inspiring. They could have very easily died here. The driver went feral and totally forgot they were operating a vehicle. This could have ended up like the Billy Madison scene where O'Doyle Rules just fucking shoots their car off a cliff like a missile. And meanwhile, the whole time, the guy's just giggling about it.
Alright. Well, you got to... Hey, you're gonna have to open that trunk. I'm not going anywhere until you open that trunk.
Unironically, she starts squealing. Literally squealing. This is what a small dog sounds like when it's trying to intimidate a larger dog, but it's also very afraid as well. It actually sounds like somebody stepped on a toad. It is shocking that a human being can make this noise with their vocal cords. This is what it sounds like to smoke 15 packs a day.
Alright. Well, you got to... Hey, you're gonna have to open that trunk.
Sorry to hit you with the surprise instant replay on the Jumbotron. It's just I'm so impressed with her ability to hit this screeching note. This is the brown note. Like, hearing that makes a human being involuntarily shit themselves. This is such an abhorrent sound. It's like someone's recorder broke, but they still desperately tried to play hot cross buns on it.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Nope. You're gonna have to get my bag out of your car. I just want my bag, man. That's all I want was my bag. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm no Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, but I'm pretty sure this is a highly illegal act here. You can't just pull over on a busy interstate and kick out the passenger because they could easily just get hit by a car and die, and you're fully responsible for it. What a remarkably reckless decision from this asshole here. But credit where credit is due, she did slam him with a real humdinger, saying, "Fuck you and fuck your mom too." So she tossed in a "your mom" there, so she really got him. I was really hoping she'd double down and go for a D's nuts as well. Just be like, "Hey, yeah, you can you get off at the D's exit and find another Lyft. D's nutties." Then she fucking peels out, drifts in there. But she handled herself like a professional, only sticking with a "your mother" statement as she launched his suitcase across the road.
Me too.
So she's running around barefoot like a hobbit, threatening an Uno reverse card, saying, "Well, I'm also filming everything, so that way we have two angles of how stupid I am and how reckless of a driver I am." I don't think there's any world or any multiverse out there where there's a single reality where what she was doing was justifiable. She was driving extremely fast and reckless. She turned around to swipe at the guy's phone while driving extremely fast, tires screeching, and then pulling off to the side of the road to kick him out. Pretty hard to defend stuff, I'd say. As she blasts off back onto the road, she nearly clipped the van that was next to her because she tried to get back too early, and that would have been an absolute catastrophe. Her road rage almost got even more people hurt. Then she left this guy stranded. I'm assuming he was able to find his way back to civilization after being dropped off in the middle of fucking nowhere on the interstate. And yeah, I don't really think this is the best Lyft experience. I would imagine this is at the absolute least 2 stars, I would say. It has to be. Because this was not great. This was not, you know, spectacular service, I would argue. But at least he survived the trip. I was getting worried when she was driving the car and slamming backwards, screeching tires and shit. I thought that was just going to be the end of him. I thought we were looking at like some Blair Witch Project found footage kind of shit, but luckily everyone was okay. That's about it. So yeah. This morning I hit my foot on the stairs, and it hurt quite a bit. It was like that episode in SpongeBob where he stubs his toe and only cried for 20 minutes. It made me feel like shit. It made me feel like a pussy. And it made me want to be a stronger, tougher guy. So I figured, let's watch some tough guy videos in order to get inspired and see how it's done, and what it really looks like to be a tough guy.
Pretend to take a photo because you're a big pussy. I'm gonna kick your ass up here.
Okay, do it. Come on.
To give you some context, the man filming flipped off the driver who nearly hit him and his dog while crossing the street, and the driver was not too happy about seeing that bird go his way. So he slows down and says he's gonna kick his ass up there. There's some real goofy shit like straight out of King of the Hill. So the guy filming has now booked a whoop-ass appointment at the upcoming parking lot, and he's not afraid, he's not backing down.
Alright, so go on, get out.
Why'd you threaten me back there?
I have it on video of you saying you're going to get out and kick my ass.
Well, you just threatened me.
Hey, what the fuck is this? Some kind of magic trick? They made the tough guy from behind the wheel disappear, and now we're just left with this scared volleyball coach talking about being threatened. This can't be the same guy that was talking about beating dick and beating ass from a moment ago, right? Must have switched out or something like that. This guy is just the quintessential peaked in high school loser. He's got a beer belly now, 2 kids that don't respect him, his wife feels trapped with him, so she's probably getting experimental with the neighbor, just trying to think of a way out of the marriage. He just does not seem like a happy guy.
With what?
You flipped me off, and I got it on camera.
Oh yeah, I flipped you off because you didn't stop for a pedestrian.
Who's the pedestrian?
Me and my dog.
You weren't there.
Oh yeah, we were.
No, you weren't.
Okay, well then I flipped you off for no reason for my First Amendment right. So go fuck yourself.
First Amendment, okay.
Yeah.
You can threaten me with the go fuck yourself.
Threaten? Are you threatened by freedom of speech, sir?
Well, you're shaking.
You should go fuck yourself.
You're shaking like a leaf.
Now it's turned into a Twitter argument here out of nowhere. So this guy was talking so fucking tough from behind the wheel of his car. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna kick your ass over there at the middle school parking lot. It's going down. Please don't call my bluff. God, please don't come over here. Oh God, he's here. So he starts to panic, and then he immediately gets out his phone, fucking fumbling it around. He's probably got it and not even recording. He probably just accidentally took a picture and thinks it's recording. Why are you threatening me? This maniac, help! Calling the police. This crazy madman's talking about he's gonna kick my ass. He's gonna beat my butt. Oh, please, God, get here and help. Why'd you threaten me? You know, just one of these cowards. Just, there's so many people like this that, you know, that very stereotypical hold me back type, you know, where someone's like going wild, like pretending they want to fight, puffing out their chest, but really that's the last thing in the world they want. That's exactly what this guy tried, but he tried it with the wrong guy. This guy was about that action. He's got his dog with him, and he was probably just going to go over there and beat his ass with one hand.
Yeah, I am, because you threatened to beat my ass.
Well, you can cry.
And this is going on Facebook.
Okay, cry.
Have you heard of Bellingham Living?
Yep.
Yeah, you're going all over it.
Well, I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, what did you say you were going to come do?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, it's on video.
Well, you look at you.
Yeah, because you threatened to beat my ass.
Your dog isn't like you.
And that's the conclusion of this David vs. Goliath match. He never even got out of the car. So the fight that he tried to start, he didn't even show up to. And I have no doubt he drove away thinking that he was the winner and the big man. Which is real fucking sad. Now let's go ahead and go to a classic. I'm sure most of you have seen this video, but this one's such a classic and I really was feeling like watching some tough guy shit. So let's go ahead and watch one of the internet's finest tough guy moments.
You tried to rear-end me and my fucking wife, bitch! Look what you did to my fucking car! I hope you have insurance, motherfucker! Get the fuck out of your truck! I'm gonna beat your fucking ass! Get the fuck out, bitch! Get the fuck out, you pussy!
This road rage incident really has everything you could want. A protagonist you can't help but root for as he just silently stone-faced stares ahead, ignoring the goofball outside of his window doing an interpretive dance and losing his mind. It's just a wonderful video.
Fuck out of your truck! Get the fuck out, you pussy ass bitch! Let's go! Get out! Get out of your truck! Get out of your truck!
I will say, his negotiating skills need work. You know, maybe get out of the truck so I can give you candy or something, you know? Like, really try and entice him out of there. Lure him out like an animal. Set little breadcrumbs or something that he might open the door and, you know, get up, you know? He's not even really trying to persuade him to leave. Right now, his only bargaining chip is get out of the truck so I can beat your ass? Who's gonna really want to take that deal? And they can just sit there and laugh at you. I also really appreciate the music in this clip because I think it really adds to the ambiance. The boner jams really add an extra layer of beauty to the video.
Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Let's go! Take a fucking video! Take a fucking video, cunt! You fucking whore, bitch cunt! Let's go! Come on!
Tough guy thought he was on Xbox Live there for a second.
Get out of your fucking truck!
Things really escalate there. We've reached the climax. As his friends show up, he gets even more confident and he goes full baby rage mode. Get out! It's great. And then all of a sudden a G.I. Joe out of nowhere shows up to try and put the kibosh on the whole thing here. Also, one of his friends looks exactly like him. They look like clones. They're even wearing the exact same shirt in a different color. I don't know if they planned that. Or maybe they could be twins, I suppose, but I just thought this was interesting. It's like a video game developer who got lazy, so they just used the same character model and changed the clothes color. Yeah, it's pretty much where that one ends. I really was expecting him to start crying after the huge meltdown moment, but I don't think he ever did get any tears out. He probably did cry on the drive home, I imagine. He really just let it all out because the emotions were just overwhelming. But it would have been nice to see him cry on camera. But, oh well. It's still a classic. And I think these two tough guy videos are pretty solid stuff. Now I think I have a better idea of what it means and looks like to be a tough guy. That's about it. So yeah. What I want to talk about today is something extremely infuriating. So if you're in a good mood right now, I tell you, you better kiss that thing goodbye because there will be no happiness left after this topic. I've talked about for a while that TikTok has rotted the minds of all of its users and convinced them that they're the main characters of the entire world and everything that happens around them is just a prop that they can use to get views and clout on TikTok. And today I learned about an absolute piece of shit named Alex Bodger. Alex Bodger pulled a Logan Paul. You remember when Logan Paul filmed the dead body in the Japan suicide forest and tried to use it as like the subject of his video, like, whoa, that's a dead body. He killed himself. What the fuck is this? You know, like I'm still surprised Logan Paul didn't start slapping Maverick merch on the corpse. Like he was really playing into it and using it as if it was some kind of great thing for him for views as a viral video. Well, Alex Bodger took a play out of Logan Paul's playbook, but even amplified it. So, the situation was, there was an argument that happened at a Starbucks. A father had asked a stranger to stop vaping near his 3-year-old daughter. The stranger got very upset, and it escalated into a murder. He stabbed the father right in front of his daughter, and he bled out and died right there at the Starbucks. Taking the life of an innocent father all because he asked you to stop vaping for a minute is horrifying. What an unhinged, evil monster. It's such a trivial thing. Just, hey bud, can you just stop vaping for just a minute or two? Like, my daughter's right here and it's making us a bit uncomfortable. Like, that, there was just no reason this should have ever escalated at all to begin with. Dude must have been vaping stupid juice. He threw his life away as well. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison for this murder, as he should. Just an awful and sad situation, and it really does blow my mind reading stories like this, where someone kills over something so small. Like, there was just no reason to even be upset in the first place that this guy asked you to stop vaping. What's the big fucking deal? Just stop vaping for a couple of minutes. It makes no fucking sense to me. Now, where does Alex Bodger come into play? Well, Alex Bodger was nearby and saw the scuffle starting, and he immediately started filming it and caught the stabbing, at least the last part of it. So he walked over to watch the guy bleed out, and as he's bleeding out, he just keeps saying, "Man just got stabbed. He's dead, bro. He's dead." And then he's getting like multiple angles, like he was trying to film a fucking 360 video of this for TikTok. He makes no attempt at all to do anything helpful to the situation, like calling authorities or anything even remotely useful to trying to help at all. It's all just about his TikTok video for him. I clearly can't show you the video, it's very bloody and very disturbing, but I'll play the audio from when he walks over, and it only gets worse from here because he continues to film and he gets more and more excited that he just filmed the man's death.
Man stabbed, bro, right here. Right here. This guy just stabbed this guy, man. This guy just stabbed him, bro. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead, bro. He's dead, bro.
After filming his passing, he then turns the camera to himself to make a, like, selfie vlog out of it, which is why we now have this infamous picture of Alex Bodger. He's doing, like, the actual Twitch pog face with the dead, bloodied body right behind him. He couldn't stop himself from smiling and pretty much giggling. He was cheering on this death like he was at a fucking sports game.
Such a chaos on yours. This motherfucker just died, bro. He just died, bro. Holy fuck.
TikTok has just created an entire generation of absolutely fucking useless losers like Alex Bodger. Does nothing to help the situation and somehow uses a tragic murder as some kind of clout goblin scheme to make a viral video out of it. Now, luckily there is still some shred of hope for at least some TikTok users, because this guy got fucking dunked on so hard he deactivated all of his shit because everyone was bullying him for being this subhuman piece of shit that he is. So that's good at least. He even went back the next day in order to smoke a cigarette where this guy had been killed. Which is some real psychopath shit. I bet this guy really thought in his little smooth brain that this instance was going to be his ticket to the big time, the big leagues, the upper echelon of TikTok fame. He would be the guy that filmed the murder, I guess.
Starbucks stabbing fam. So I'm walking down the road. I thought I see a street fight. I thought it was just a street fight, right? So I start running over there, I start videotaping.
This guy actually just looks like he's cosplaying as a generic psychopath. I don't know how to explain it, but just by taking one look at him, I know he lives alone in an apartment and abuses his pets. He addresses the viewers as the Starbucks stabbing fam. I guess that's what he's trying to call his community, or lack thereof a community. It's pretty clear that he doesn't actually think this is a serious situation at all. This video is supposed to be like his defense, his side of the story, explaining it, you know, getting to the truth of it. You've all misunderstood me, and, you know, that kind of deal. But it's really not that at all. And at no point does he even address why he decided not to even try and help or call authorities or anything and just sit there and film. I really thought this was just going to be a standard cookie-cutter influencer apology video, complete with the fake tears true combo, but it's something very different.
And I see some blood, and so I just thought maybe like there was a bloody nose or something. My brain wasn't really allowing me to believe what just happened. And I knew he was dead, but at the same time, and so like this is my first time ever experiencing this, right? So like my brain's just like, he's dead, like and so I just start screaming because I don't know what the fuck else to do. The murderer is standing right there. All that's going through my head is like, holy fuck, I'm standing right here screaming he's dead while the murderer is right there. What if he comes at me and fucking kills me?
Oh, brother, we got it all wrong. He was afraid, clearly. You know, the murderer was right there, and this guy was concerned that maybe the murderer would come and kill him. He was so afraid that he stood there and continued to film the whole thing, including filming the murderer, while delivering play-by-play commentary as the father died in front of him. And then still continued to sit there filming and then turning it into a selfie vlog style where he starts pogging and laughing. It looked like he really was afraid, and now he's explained it, and now it makes sense. You know, he was like a deer in the headlights, afraid for his own life, clearly.
But I'm in so much shock, I'm just standing there doing this. And then I had what I thought was the most controversial thought of my life, which it was controversial. Where I'm gonna say Satsi Kesanias. This motherfucker. But the motherfucker just died part, like that smile on my face, I was out of uncomfort. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't know what just happened. Like, that's how I always am in uncomfortable situations. I put a little bit of a smile on my face, you know? And like,
I fucking hate the way this guy talks. He is talking like he's still trying to woo TikTok girls with this shit. Absolute weirdo. He's putting that little, like, what's it called, vocal fry in his speech, even though I know he has a lisp and is trying extremely hard to hide it here with all of this. And he's still taking like these, trying to make these like flattering angles while talking about filming this guy dying and cheering it on. I'm surprised he didn't start like sticking his tongue out and biting his bottom lip, because he even did like the generic, and like, you know, that kind of garbage. What an absolute fucking creepy douchebag. Now, for what it's worth, I know that for some people in a traumatic or scary situation, they cope with it with like a smile or something. That's not what he did here. Like, that's not the same response. Not only were you laughing and smiling, you turned the whole thing into like a song and dance for you, for your content. You turned it into content. That's not just being uncomfortable and smiling. You literally turned the camera around to film you and the dead body like you were at a goddamn spring break concert. Like, it's not the same. Like, you can't even come close to making a convincing argument that, well, actually, I was just uncomfortable, which is why I was smiling and, you know, started vlogging. It's how I deal with trauma.
I'm sorry for the people that it pissed off. I've been called by the homicide unit. I shared my grief. Like, yeah, like, this shit, it doesn't faze me too much, only because, like, I've seen, like, I'll just say human life, to me, the way I look at it, if I don't know you, is meaningless. It's meaningless. I'm just keeping it straight up, but, yeah, he's dead, what can we do now?
What a totally normal person thing to say. Human life, to me, if I don't know you, is meaningless. Oh, yeah, that's something not, you know, concerning to hear at all. That's not like a giant red flag. I'm also very curious where his brain was going when he said, like, it doesn't faze him too much because he's seen, and then he cut himself off. Also interesting that he contradicts himself, because he stated that he was, like, traumatized by the event, saying that every time he thinks about the situation, he gets a feeling in his chest of pure fear. But in this video, he's puffing out his chest and, you know, fucking spreading his lats like a bat, like he's such a big, strong man that this kind of thing doesn't faze him. So that's weird. What is it? Were you fazed by it, or does it not matter to you at all? And even in this video, said he shared his grief. Well, what grief? You already said you weren't really fazed by it, and since you didn't know the guy, his life had no meaning to you. So what the fuck are you talking about? I really feel like this guy has no actual human emotion whatsoever and is trying his best to put on some kind of show to prove he does, but it's very unsuccessful. The whole thing fucking sucks. This guy is an actual piece of shit and it infuriated me, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Horrible, horrible situation, and that's really about it. So yeah. There's two questions I get asked more than any others. Why am I short, and why do I live in Tampa? And my answer to both of these questions is the same. Because I like it. I like being short. Feels good. Now, obviously, I'm just kidding. I'm not fooling anyone with that response, but what am I going to do about it? Not exactly something I can change, like a bad hairstyle. It's not like the result of being lazy. It's not like going to the gym more often is somehow going to magically make me taller. This is just the way the Lord 3D printed me, and I'm powerless against it, unless I want to break both of my legs and then take years of physical therapy to learn to walk again and all that, which I'm not going to do, so that's the reason I'm short. Can't help it. But my answer was honest to the second question. I live in Tampa because I like it. I know a lot of people outside of Florida view Florida as like some kind of freak show circus PvP enabled zone because of all the Florida Man stories. So people look at this place as if it's some different planet with an entirely different species of people that live here. But I was born and raised in this swamp. 29 years down here, I got that Florida Man gene embedded deep in my DNA. And boy howdy, I tell ya, I don't see myself moving anywhere outside of Florida. I think even when Florida ends up entirely underwater, it'll be like the new Atlantis. The Florida people will persevere. We'll grow little gills, and we'll have our own new society underwater. And we'll still probably have Publix too. I got a little lost in the sauce here. The whole reason I'm even talking about Tampa to begin with is because of a local news story I read today, coming from my neck of the woods. And it's some pretty deplorable shit here. So I wanted to share this because it made me ashamed of my fellow Tampa enjoyers.
You are watching what cops say is a terrible crime committed by a brilliant chemist. First, he's seen filling a syringe with some sort of substance. Then he places the syringe under an apartment door.
Now, he's no Walter White or anything, but this guy is apparently a very gifted chemistry student. He was enrolled at the USF PhD program and, according to all the reports, was very gifted. And what did he do with those gifts? Well, he delivered them like Krampus to a family's doorstep and brought a lot of problems for them. So he was injecting these chemicals under their doorstep for months, and it caused the family and their newborn baby to get pretty ill.
Umar Abdullah and his wife had just had a baby. Almost immediately, they say, their downstairs neighbor, then a PhD student in chemistry, began complaining about noise.
Imagine being such a miserable piece of shit that a baby crying makes you so upset that you decide to try and assassinate the whole family because the noise is too much. Like, that's bafflingly evil. I understand that a baby crying or being noisy can be a bit annoying, but I just don't know how it can make somebody snap like this. I had an apartment in downtown Tampa, and you can only imagine the things I was hearing there. Between some occasional gunshots as well as some wackier noises. Like a long time ago, I even posted a video about how there was a whole group of frogs that used to fuck right outside of my window of where I slept. And it made it very hard to sleep because they were being real rowdy. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't go out there, take a bazooka and blow up the frogs. You know, I didn't go out there with a sledgehammer and tear up the orgy by killing all the frogs or anything. I politely knocked on the window occasionally, trying to, you know, scare them away, like take this business elsewhere. I also more than once would open up the door out back of my apartment in order to, like, rustle the bush that they were treating like a frat house to get them away. But the thing is, it never elicits such an extreme response. I get noisy neighbors are frustrating. Like, neighbors above you that are just slamming around, like throwing bowling balls back and forth, just causing a ruckus at all types of odd hours. It's a headache. But this is not the same situation in the first place. It's a baby. It's a newborn baby. Obviously, it's going to cry from time to time. That's how babies work. That's just how it is. Like, I just can't imagine the lunacy here to do something like this, which is basically attempted murder fundamentally, I would say. It's just fucking crazy.
That's him skulking outside the apartment in Tampa.
After my daughter was born, right after we came back from hospital, he started complaining.
Then the family began smelling chemicals pervading the apartment. Everyone, including the baby, started getting sick.
Psychopath energy just rolls up so casually, like this is just routine. Another walk in the park. No, business as usual. Gets the syringe out and then just blasts it under the door. I'm also a little surprised nobody else saw him do this. I guess I don't know how many residents there are in the area, but like he walks around with the vial and syringe out, and no one really stopped to question that around the premises, that is. Or I guess maybe it's possible since we only see him at the top of the stairs, he brought it out right before the camera catches him. But yeah, just very nonchalant about what is basically attempted murder.
Became overwhelming, and that's when the new dad decided to install a hidden camera. At first, the surveillance video caught just a glimpse of the suspect. The next day, when the camera was repositioned, this happened, and the terrifying truth came out. Initial toxicology reports from police say the substance being pumped into their apartment consists of 2 strong opioids, methadone and hydrocodone.
Now, to further explain, the family was aware of the chemical odor that was permeating through their residence, and they tried everything to get rid of it. They checked all the pipes, everything. Eventually, the landlord even replaced their water heater, thinking that that could have been a culprit, maybe something gone awry, malfunctioning in the water heater, leading to that smell. But the smell never went away, and they kept getting sick. The husband noted vomiting. It was just not a good set of circumstances. And that smell that smelled smelly just kept coming back. So eventually the husband got a hidden camera that he could set up outside in a plant, just in case it could help lead to some kind of clues on where this smell was coming from. And that's when they learned who the villain was behind the smell. It was their neighbor that is still seemingly upset that a baby cries. Nobody tell him that he was also once a cringe baby that was making crying noises too, because he'd lose his goddamn mind on it, I guess. He's still upset about it, so then he turned to biological warfare.
The suspect is identified as Xiuming Li, who got his PhD in chemistry at the University of South Florida.
Abdullah says he got his family out of the house and then immediately called police. Li was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including possession of a controlled substance and aggravated stalking.
This is a situation that, had this not been ultimately caught, could have resulted in someone dying.
It's scary to think that something as simple as your newborn baby crying was almost a death sentence for this family, or their child at the very least, because it's a newborn. It's not exactly the best things to be inhaling, hydrocodone and methadone. Now, I'm not exactly the most familiar with these substances, as shocking as that is to hear, but it certainly sounds pretty dangerous to me. So I'm happy the family got to the bottom of it. Hopefully there's no lasting side effects from this whole ordeal on them. Hopefully everything's just smooth sailing from here. And yeah, this is just upsetting for all of Tampa. This isn't what we're about down here. Tampa is a place known for many great things, like bath salts and good neighbors. And this guy was not a good neighbor. So yeah, I just wanted to go over this a little bit just because I saw it. It's in Tampa. It's super weird. Anytime there's a Tampa-related crime, it feels personal for me as a resident of Tampa. It feels like, how could you? We're better than this, damn it. You're giving Tampa a bad name. Like, I just feel disappointed. Like, just genuinely disappointed. I know that every single one of you watching this video right now has that one piece of content that you saw at some point in your life that is just burned into your brain and you can never forget it. Now, it might not be something that you obsess over and dwell on, think about every single day of your life, you know, writing it on the walls or something, like you get crazy with it, but it is a video that you've watched that you'll never forget. For a lot of you, that'll be the basic things like 2 Girls, 1 Cup, or Goatsy. But for me, these videos are usually like public freakouts that just really make me mad thinking about. So then sometimes when I'm in like a bad mood about something, I'll think of them and make myself even more upset. Which is super stupid, but, you know, it is what it is. And there's one video in particular that pops up every few months that every time it gets floated around again and reposted, I watch in its entirety, and then I go through and get upset about it all over again as if for the first time.
Grab the water too. Thank you. Hey, can I ask you something, by the way? No, it's just that every time I come here, like at the late night hour, I don't know why, you're like very, like it's not even me, because I know it's not just me. Like, I'm sure you're like this way with everyone. You just like are very impatient. Like if like you don't want this job, you don't have to be here. Like I'm just letting you know, like you literally rush my order every single time, and I hate having you.
This video is just the final raid boss of public freakouts that ticks every single box that just steams my ham. It gets me so heated every time. It is an asshole filming it themselves, filming their actual worst moment, which is always just baffling to me. They're being a piece of shit to someone in the service industry, specifically at fast food, which seems to just be the Thunderdome for degeneracy with these fucking weirdos that go there just to stir up a controversy. This is a premeditated embarrassment. He went there already filming the window, ready to confront this guy, because he said that he rushes his order. Brother, it's a fast food restaurant, you stupid fucking worm. You fucking imbecile homunculus. Why are you whining about your food being rushed? That's the entire point of fast food. It's the entire reason the establishment exists, to deliver the food quickly. And he's complaining about it. It's crazy. Like, the 3 little neurons in his dumb little spongy fart brain couldn't process that the reason the worker is giving him his food quickly is because that's his job. That's the whole point of it. But then, to top it off, the guy filming is also drunk driving. He's a self-admitted drunk driver. He literally reports himself in the video. It actually rolls up everything that makes me mad about public freakouts into like one video. So this is just like the full complete Christmas package of things that just grind my ass.
And I mean, I'm sure my word means nothing to you, but I'm just telling you, you have the choice to have a different profession. This isn't a profession. I'm sure you're just very incompetent and you have to work here.
It's better than your lack of profession, where you still treat mommy and daddy like coin blocks in Mario for you to jump up and hit for your allowance that you use to purchase your truck with. I remember when this video surfaced, I went fucking super sleuth on it because I had to know if there was a follow-up. He filmed it himself, so surely he would see everyone clowning on him. And sure enough, at the time, he did issue an apology on Facebook, and I didn't forgive him then. And I don't forgive him now. Fuck him. He's also a drunk driver, which I will never have any level of forgiveness for. But he's also a fucking turbo dweeb who tries to lecture him on why his job doesn't matter and it's not even a profession, and says that the reason he has it is because he must be incompetent. Oh, you slimy fucking weasel. You goofy little bowl of horseradish. It is unreal that a drunk driver that wasn't employed at the time of the video, maybe he is now, and it would be poetic if he is also working in the fast food industry, and now maybe we'll understand the pain of horrible people like him coming through. But I'm already getting lost in some erotica fanfic about justice existing in the real world. Point is, this absolute unhinged dork then takes time out of his night to try and shit on this guy who's just doing his job and doing it well. That is just downright despicable behavior. It's so fucking embarrassing, and he filmed it himself too, so he's also a delusional, stupid asshole too.
But I'm not being ignorant either. It's just like, I come here to get food. Who cares, like, if I've been drinking or doing whatever? Like, I come here at a late night hour, I get food. Every time I have you, I fucking hate it. It makes me sick.
I'm so sorry about that.
Huge save by clarifying that he's not being ignorant. Wouldn't want anyone to get confused here. I also love that all of this starts by saying, hey, can I ask you something? And then he goes into this monologue shitting on the guy and explaining why he hates him. Because he gets his food out too fast. He's too good at his job. Thus, this absolute fucking stupid moron is like, you're a bad man. You must not want to see me. He has a personal grudge against me and wants to get me out of here, shoo me away like a stray animal. He hates me for some reason, so I hate him. He gives me my food too quick. Damn it. I also imagine that he carries this energy with him everywhere. So, Godspeed to the waiters and waitresses that have been unfortunately subjected to this plague of a person that sweeps through asking and demanding some kind of certain service. Like, excuse me, harlot, you didn't smile at me when you took my order. You fucking hate me. This isn't even a real profession. This isn't even a real profession. You must just be incompetent. Like, I imagine this is just him. Like, this is just him, fully. Like, this isn't just an isolated incident. But anyway, I'm gonna replay this just in case you missed it the first time. He says something very important here.
I come here to get food. Who cares, like, if I've been drinking or doing whatever? Like, I come here at a late night hour, I get food. Every time I have you, I fucking hate it. It makes me sick.
I'm so sorry about that.
Full-blown self-report here. He just says, who cares if I've been drinking or doing whatever? So you've been drinking and doing whatever frequently and then come here to get food. So you're a constant drunk driver. You're a menace. I'll tell you who cares. Every innocent person on the road will care if you've been drinking and getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. It's dangerous to everyone around you, including yourself. I will never ever sympathize with a drunk driver. And it's certainly not one like this. This guy's just a turbo douchebag. This is next level douchebag shit. I feel so bad for the worker here. Like, he just sits here and listens to this whole spiel over nothing. Like, this whole temper tantrum hoopla.
No, I'm sure you're very sorry about it. I'm sure you're very sorry about it. But you are very shitty to me every time I come here.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sure you're not actually sorry, and you're just saying that because, like, whatever's happening or you're being recorded. So, yeah.
This warrior is a patient saint because that window should have closed far earlier, but he let this guy continue to vomit out a bunch of fucking nonsense, upset over nothing. The service was too efficient, I guess. I suppose that this guy really thinks he's the main character of life, and everyone should be trying to communicate and talk with him. When he's just at a fast food place, clearly you're just getting your food and leaving. That's the whole point of it. I don't know what he was expecting or what he wanted. All this worker did was get him his food and send him on his way. He did nothing wrong. He did nothing to warrant any kind of hostile response. He just keeps blabbering on about how getting him at the drive-thru makes him sick because he's impatient and rushes his food. Like, it's still 2 years later makes me upset. And it popped up again this week, so I wanted to talk about it. Like I said, it gets reposted like once every few months, and every time it does, I get angry all over again. Like I have like arguments with the driver of this truck in my head from time to time. Like I don't know how someone ends up that much of a monstrous asshole. I don't know how you end up so entitled and shitty. I don't. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. So yeah. When you think of go-karts, what do you picture? Kids in go-karts having fun? Or greasy, grisly men competing in a blood sport for the sake of glory, fame, and a place in the history books? If you picture go-karting as some weenie hut junior sport only enjoyed by children and young adults for some fun, then you're a disgusting, pathetic vermin who doesn't understand real high-octane nuts-to-butts motorsports. In the world of racing, go-karting is the most extreme, a sport only fit for the most high-caliber athletes chosen by the Olympian gods. And yesterday, during one of the go-karting championships, madness erupted. Chaos engulfed the championship circuit as two drivers really got into a heated battle with countless deaths. They're still trying to get an accurate body count for the amount of corpses they piled up in this feud, which you would expect with stakes as high as the go-karting championship. I'll just go ahead and play the clip for you because it is truly unbelievable stuff here.
What's he doing? What is Luca Corberi playing at? Oh, Luca Corberi, what on earth is he doing? I'm sorry, that is absolutely unacceptable. As Kramers makes the move on Baz Lammers, Luca Corberi makes himself public enemy #1.
So Slender Man over there that tossed that front bumper in the go-kart track is Luca Corberi, a massive douchebag and insufferable asshole who got very upset at this championship race yesterday because he fucking sucks as a driver who's been stuck in the go-karting league for like a decade now with dreams of making it as an F1 driver, which he is absolutely fucking burned with this right here. And he gets upset because he got into an accident that was probably his own fault, and he's blaming one driver in particular out there, so he throws the bumper, hoping to cause an accident and hurt the kid. Luckily, Luca is bad at everything he does, so he wasn't even able to succeed with that plan, couldn't even sabotage the kart, and in fact, the kid just hits the bumper right back at Luca and hits him in the foot, Hopefully it left a little bruise or something as a constant reminder of his ineptitude. It's just really pathetic stuff. Luckily no one was hurt with this little stunt here, but Luca wasn't done. This isn't where his road rage stops. His insecurities are very deep. What a real tough guy, charging him when he had no idea he was there. Fucking Luca lurking in the shadows, going for like some kind of stealth Ninja Turtles attack here. Now it's important to note, Luca is not a child. Luca is 23 years old, and the person that he's having this fight with is Paolo Ippolito. I'm not sure how old he is. Some people are claiming he's 16 years old, whereas I've seen things claim that he's 24. So his age is as mysterious as how the pyramids were built, but what is clear here is that Luca is about a foot taller than him. It looks like if I got into a fight with my father. And yet Luca is such a pussy that he still couldn't just square up man to man and settle the beef that way. He had to charge from out of nowhere with a fucking wrestling takedown on someone that had no idea that they were there. He's just such a fucking coward. So Paolo is twice the man that Luca is, and it doesn't stop there. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in the Luca Corberi household. His father gets in on the action. The older man in the coat that comes storming in is Luca Corberi's father, who again goes for a cheap shot on Paolo. It's so fucking pathetic. I know that it's not the Middle Ages anymore and honor doesn't mean anything, but if you're throwing a sucker punch or attacking someone that doesn't even know you're there, you're a giant coward and a huge fucking pussy, and I have no respect for people like that. So basically the Corberi family here in a nutshell. And now I can't show the rest of the video here because it does go on, but Corberi's father throws punches at Paolo, and you have to be a real fucking idiot to throw punches at someone wearing a goddamn helmet. So he definitely probably broke a few fingers there, and he gets it bad. Corberi's father actually gets his ass beat by the pit crew because Corberi's father went even more ballistic than his son, and the pit crew stepped in, and it was a big mess. So overall, I don't know what's going to happen to Luca Corberi, hopefully banned from the sport, as well as his father being banned from any kind of sporting event as like a spectator or whatever the fuck he does, because that shit is absolutely unacceptable. That is absolutely outrageous, and somebody really could have gotten hurt. Luckily, the only people that got hurt were the Corberi family. They started all of this and they walked away, actually the only ones that got hurt, so at least there's some justice there. And yeah, that's really about it. I bet you didn't expect go-karting to be so cutthroat. Absolutely brutal, huh? Pretty wild shit. That's about it. See ya. I'm becoming more and more convinced that TikTok is actually a weapon used to weed out stupid people. Because this story is not the first of its kind. This is not an isolated incident where a TikTok trend or challenge leads to a lot of fatalities. It's honestly getting to the point where these headlines feel like they're AI generated. Like the one we're talking about today feels like a fake story put into Grand Theft Auto as a joke. Just something they slid in there as something silly. But it's apparently legitimate. There's a TikTok trend called the boat jumping challenge, which is responsible for at least 4 people's deaths recently. And the challenge, as the name would imply, is jumping off of a boat going extremely fast. You don't need a master's degree in physics to figure out why this is dangerous, but just in case, I'll lay down the brass tacks. So I'm gonna sit you down in the classroom here for the lecture, so spit out your gum. Since the boat is moving so fast, when you jump off of it, you hit the water hard as shit. You generate a lot of force behind that impact. It's a goddamn wallop. So, what's happening is, when people are jumping off of the boats, they're hitting the water and then snapping their necks and drowning. It's an easily preventable and probably the most embarrassing death imaginable because you killed yourself for a goofy-ass TikTok challenge. And I also hate that everything in the world is called a challenge these days. That word has lost all meaning. There's nothing challenging about this. Jumping off a boat doesn't have any level of difficulty or skill to it. The only challenge, I guess, is surviving it. Like, avoiding being banished to the fucking Shadow Realm for it. But I'm so fucking tired of everything getting called a challenge, you know? Here's the poop without wiping challenge. You take a shit, and you don't use any toilet paper or a bidet to clean your anus. Expert difficulty, ultra nightmare mode, impossible challenge, you won't last 5 seconds. It's so dumb. I'm so tired of everything getting labeled a challenge. But anyway, this trend of boat jumping is responsible for at least 4 deaths, and like I mentioned, that is just the saddest way of going out. Not only is it like an agonizingly slow, painful death, but that is just, you're probably getting made fun of in the afterlife for that. Dying for a stupid TikTok trend, you know the angels are shooting spitballs at you. Like, that is, like, it's just a shameful way of exiting this corporeal realm and shedding the mortal coil. That is so fucking sad. Like, I feel horrible that, you know, people have, you know, perished from it, but I honestly am stunned by just how quickly the human brain is devolving. This is like human instincts 101 shit. Like, this is common sense. This is an instinct you're born with. Not to, like, jump off of something going fast because it'll create bad ouchie boo-boo moment. Fucking cavemen probably would know not to jump off of, like, a speeding vehicle like this. I just don't understand how anyone would see this challenge and think that it was somehow safe or wasn't dangerous. Like, you'd have to know. You would have to know. And another thing is, it's so traumatizing, like, dying this way, not only because it was extremely avoidable, but because it's most likely done in front of your family and friends. Like, if you're on a boat, you're probably not on a boat with strangers. That's not exactly like you can call up an Uber to do this with. You can't just call up, like, a boat service, right, to pick you up and do this TikTok trend. So you had friends and family around you filming you, and then you did the TikTok suicide challenge right in front of them, and they watched you die and fucking filmed it. That is scarring. That is incomprehensibly nightmarish. So, like, this whole thing is, it's shocking that anyone would actually even do this. Like, 4 deaths from it is surprisingly low, actually. I imagine that's only the reported ones so far, assuming this is a popular trend. And I decided to look it up myself on TikTok to see how big the trend was. And it seems like it was pretty big, and there are still quite a few surviving videos of people doing the challenge, but all of them seem to at least had the foresight to recognize that, you know, pushing that bitch wide open on the boat going like 60 would have been a complete disaster and led to a Mortal Kombat fatality. So the ones that are on there right now are slow boats. They're going slow, so that way they don't hurt themselves doing it or, like, get seriously injured from it. Whereas most people, I guess, didn't recognize that and amplified the danger, fucking Evel Knievel, and actually just warp-drived their boat and jumped off, which led to these 4 deaths in Alabama. This whole situation proves to me, with my fucking tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, that there has to be some kind of shadow organization, the puppet masters pulling the strings of TikTok, that are in this think tank coming up with the most dangerous trends and challenges, knowing that stupid people will die doing it as a way of, like, population control or something. Like, not only is TikTok legitimately rotting the brains of so many people, but they're not satisfied with that. They're gluttonous for more punishment of the human species. So they're coming up with challenges like this knowing that people will die doing it. Because like I said, this is far from the only one. There's also, of course, like the blackout challenge, which was literally suffocating yourself, and some people died doing that. Which, obviously, but that was the whole fucking challenge, basically. You just strangle yourself until you're about to pass out, and some people died from it. But point is, there's so many of these challenges now. This is just the most recent one. And what's even crazier is I think back to the Tide Pod challenge, how everyone all at once recognized the stupidity and the danger of it, and yet that didn't have nearly as many deaths or injuries as any TikTok trend that comes out. Like, every big TikTok trend has, like, at least a handful of deaths associated with it at this point. And even extending further beyond Tide Pod Challenge, many people forget this one, but it's one I look back on with a big fucking smile on my face that someone even tried it. There was something called the Hot Coil Challenge, which was only ever done by one person. It was a dude who just turned his fucking stovetop on and then put his bare forearm on it and let it incinerate his flesh. So he just slams his arm onto the stovetop and lets that motherfucker simmer. He is in there just letting it cook. So he holds it there for a little bit, obviously just melting the flesh off, fucking cremating his forearm, and called it the Hot Coil Challenge. And that would have been less detrimental to human health than fucking TikTok trends like the boat jumping challenge. There would have been less deaths in the hot coil challenge than there are in things like the boat jumping challenge and blackout challenge and all of that. That's so crazy. Now, this isn't exactly related to the boat jumping challenge, but I want to illustrate just how dangerous water speed is. There is a record for the fastest water speed ever achieved, and it was set back in the 70s. And you'd think upon hearing that, like, oh, we've advanced well beyond that with technology. How have we not been able to beat a record from the 70s when it comes to water speed? And that's because it's considered the most hazardous thing to ever engage in. It's the most dangerous record to ever try and break. There's a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to it. Of the last 13 attempts to break the water speed world record, there have been 7 deaths. And the 2 most recent attempts both ended in catastrophe and death. It is a record that most people don't really want to challenge because it is so fucking dangerous. I feel like a lot of people just don't recognize how dangerous water can be, which is a silly thing to say, because I feel like most people should be able to, but we're living in clown times right now where people are just, they're not thinking anymore. They see internet engagement and all rational thought goes right out the window. So it's fucking dangerous. Obviously, this boat jumping challenge was going to lead to serious injury and death. And yet, people were blinded in the pursuit of clout. A story as old as time now. Well, not really. A story as old as 3 or 4 years now, with how desperate people are for clout, that they are actually killing themselves for it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's about it. See ya. On the internet, sometimes you have to get really creative to stand out from the crowd, which births some legends, like the great Tide Pod eaters of yesteryear, or the absolute champion, the brave soul who attempted the hot coil challenge where he put his forearm on a stovetop. And these ideas are always made with the intent of getting views and going viral. And today I learned about someone who tried a new tactic, derailing a train for YouTube views.
Charges have now been filed against a Lancaster County teen accused of intentionally causing this train derailment out in Bennett. The 17-year-old even sent this video to 1011 afterwards. You see there some of those cars veering off of the tracks. It happened at the crossing at Highway 43 back on April 22nd. A criminal complaint says that between the rail itself and the train engines and cars, about $350,000 worth of damage was done. That teen has now been charged with 2 felony counts of criminal mischief, but he is not in custody at the moment. Attorneys have filed a motion to move his case to county court and to try him as an adult.
A very interesting strategy here. This sounds like some kind of lame plot that Cobra Commander would have cooked up to lure out the G.I. Joe, except here it's just used for views. There's so many things to unpack here, but one thing I'm very curious about is where he planned to go from here. Like, let's say he did get a huge audience for derailing the train. Does he just keep amping up the stakes? Like, next video he smuggles a bomb onto a plane, follow-up video he drops depth charges into the Suez Canal. Like, I don't know how you keep upping the mischief to keep the audience hooked here. It seems like this is a one-and-done thing, unless he was just going to be some kind of, like, serial train derailer, like the worst Saturday morning cartoon villain ever. So, who knows what the potential was behind this young lad's YouTube career, but he is being charged, and it looks like it's going to be very serious charges. $350,000 in damages, that's a lot of clams. He's going to have to sell a lot of Hot Wheels and maybe even his Fortnite account to start trying to make up for that.
Of also pulling a rail switch, ultimately causing that derailment. The lead investigator says the accused 17-year-old walked up during the investigation and asked what happened, later telling the investigators it was, quote, obvious that the switch had been pulled, and then showed the investigator the video you're seeing now. Railway police believe that security cameras in the area showed the teen not only driving up to the scene, but also setting up a camera minutes before the derailment.
I guess I've never seen a real-life train derailment, which is maybe the purpose behind his video, to educate us on what they actually look like. Because in my head, I always picture it the way Hollywood portrays it, where when a train derails, it's going at like fucking Mach 5 speed, and even when the emergency brake is cranked, it doesn't really do anything to stop it, so then the cars just start shooting off the tracks in every which way as Linkin Park's What I've Done plays. But clearly that's not the case in reality. So the conductor attempted to make an emergency stop, but didn't have enough time to do so before reaching the point of no return, and then it collided with an empty coal car. And it's very lucky that there weren't more damages, because I imagine in a situation like that, it's pretty common for some of the cars to start, like, not flipping over, like, they're not doing, like, a fucking kickflip or a pop shove it and falling off the tracks, but, like, tipping over and shit once they get off the tracks, and especially when they collide with something huge, like an empty coal car. So it definitely sounds like it could have been a lot worse there, so it was lucky that it didn't get as bad. And speaking of lucky, you can get really lucky right now by getting Goof Juice. It's going to improve your luck stat because it's the best beverage ever made. It's the best flavor. My GamerSupps Goof Juice flavor is available right now. There's a huge sale. gamersupps.gg/moist, or click the link in the description. Reading about it just makes the whole thing even stupider though, because the kid wanted to record it and share it on YouTube, so he hatched this nefarious scheme to go pull the lever after setting up a camera so he could film a train derailing, and then he stayed at the scene the entire time, and was even the one who alerted authorities to the incident. So he approached the investigator asking what caused the crash, and the investigator said he didn't know, so the suspect allegedly said, "Obviously a switch was flipped the wrong way." And I can already just imagine, like, he's putting a pinky to his mouth like Dr. Evil. He then even showed investigators the video he took, but denied trespassing and tampering with the switch. I guess he was really hoping that absolute bumbling imbeciles would have shown up that would have chalked up his presence and video recording equipment as just being some kind of coincidence. Dude shows up with like a fucking full-blown studio here to record this, and he expected the authorities to be like, huh, that's weird. Who could have done this? Must have been the fucking goat man. Like, Jesus Christ, I guess he was really expecting, like, NPCs from Assassin's Creed to show up that just immediately de-aggro when you go into tall grass, like, huh, must have been the wind. Probably wasn't this kid fucking filming everything here. So, he was also spotted on... he was also spotted setting up his camera and tripod near the crossing 4 minutes before the train derailed. And then they also found a video of the derailment posted to their YouTube channel. So, I mean, that was kind of a game point right there. That was kind of a checkmate. The 17-year-old's apparently a huge train enthusiast. That's what their YouTube account mainly dedicated to. And it's a big community on YouTube with, like, train videos, train spotting, and all of that. But I don't think anyone's gone so far as to intentionally derail a train to stand out in the community. That's definitely breaking new ground there. I am shocked, though, how easy it was for him to do that. Like, I just always imagined there'd be, like, actual security parameters in place to prevent just any old fucking Joe Schmo from walking up and just cranking a lever to change a train track. But I guess in this case, there was a padlock that was supposed to be there that wasn't there. Or perhaps this rabbit hole goes deeper. I'm going to put on the tinfoil hat here and blast your ass with a conspiracy theory. What if he wasn't working alone? What if there was an entire network here that set up this train derailment? What if it was the deep state using this 17-year-old to derail the train and cause havoc? Perhaps they were banking on even more damages with cars flipping over, maybe spilling some hazardous waste or something. So someone on the inside at the trail company, Jesus Christ, at the train company, they took the padlock away. They had a secret agent go in there, remove the padlock, and then the 17-year-old showed up and had free access to that lever, and then to film it. And this is just the fall guy that we're looking at here. Food for thought. Something worth stewing on a bit. Now only time will tell as the investigation continues what the truth of the matter was, but most likely it was just someone fishing for YouTube views through a really degenerate viral video idea. Now, there is something I want to mention about trains. I may have never seen a train derail, but I have seen a train stop. That may not be some jaw-dropping feat or an achievement. I'm sure millions of other people have seen stopped trains before, but mine comes with a story. So there was a train track that ran right outside of my university when I was in college, and one night when going to a bar, the train had broken down, and it was stopped on that train track, and everyone at the bar would go and, like, climb on it and take pictures on it, and I wanted to be part of the crowd. So I did the same, and I took a picture in front of the train with my arms crossed. I'm pretty sure I pulled this up on stream at one point, but I used this as one of my Tinder profile pics for quite a long time. And it is perhaps one of the most revolting pictures you will ever find. It's so fucking stupid, it's so blurry, it looks like a picture of Sasquatch, and it is such a bad photo of me. It's when I still had like the mutton chops for a little while. God bless, what a fucking awful idea that was. But I looked like Wolverine if he got scurvy. So I was standing there in front of the train, arms crossed and like semi on my tippy toes, so I looked a little bigger in front of the train. And I unironically used that as my Tinder profile pic for quite a while. And I just had to share that here. I'm pretty sure I brought up that picture on stream, but I don't know if I ever told the full story to it. So seeing a train derail isn't really the same as seeing a train stopped and taking a picture in front of it, but both instances do involve a train. So, felt the need to share. That's about it. See ya. It's no secret that journalism isn't as respected as it once was. It certainly doesn't have the pedigree that it used to. Most people find journalist to be synonymous with clown, and it's really not hard to see why in a lot of cases when even today you have major publications like the Wall Street Journal in particular, who I'm going to name and shame real quick, who are writing goofy dogshit articles that are just blatantly wrong and misleading about Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried was the head of FTX, the cryptocurrency empire with billions upon billions of dollars in it that collapsed overnight and is a blatant case of fraud. But for some reason, Wall Street Journal and other publications, but Wall Street Journal in particular has been playing this game of hide Sam's cock in their mouth, and they've been writing articles like refusing to admit that it was fraud and making all kinds of weird excuses for it, like, oh, the reason FTX failed was actually because supporters lost confidence in Sam Bankman-Fried, or Sam Bankman-Fried was the world's most generous billionaire who had plans to save the world and now he can't since his empire collapsed. Playing the world's smallest violin for a fucking criminal, a fraud. It's so weird. And it's things like that that give journalism as a whole a very negative reputation. I know I've already spent quite a bit of time talking about this, but it's just infuriating. Oh, no, he's not a fraud. It's because he was too nice and too smart. We didn't see the vision, so it's actually our fault. You know, Sam Bankman-Fried's a goddamn angel. It's fucking sickening. And it leads to this stigma around journalism. But there are great journalists out there, and the one I want to talk about today is a journalist who is legitimately putting his life on the line in order to deliver extremely important stories to the public. And he's actually a YouTuber. His name is Friendly Jordies. He's a comedian who has, for the last couple of years, been very much delivering some of the hardest-hitting journalism in all of Australia, and the price he's paid for this is a huge one. He's been threatened more times than Bugs Bunny by Elmer Fudd. He is constantly getting threats from powerful people. He's been sued. Even very recently, he was involved in a defamation case that resulted in Google, YouTube having to pay $715,000 over this defamation case. He was labeled racist or abusive for a series of videos he made talking about a person in power. He's done so many stories about corruption at even the highest level, and most recently, the scariest thing has happened to him. His life was put in jeopardy. His house was firebombed. He made a video going over the situation, but it's also been reported by so many Australian news outlets as well. The situation is as follows. His neighbor's house was firebombed on the 17th of November. It was luckily put out pretty quickly, and then shortly after that, his house was firebombed, and a lot of it was damaged, obviously. Now, this appears to be a deliberate attack. The fact that his neighbors got firebombed and then he did makes it seem like they originally went for him to begin with, but were too fucking stupid to figure out which one was his residence, so they gambled on a 50-50 and lost. Kind of like when you gamble on a fart and shit your pants, but then they came back and tried to finish the job. It's fucking terrifying stuff. I'm going to play you a bit of his interview with the media here when they were waiting for him outside of his house.
I would hope that the New South Wales strike force that is supposedly set up for fixated people and terrorists would be looking into this instead of a comedian and his team for 6 months straight at the whim of a previous premier that all of you defended for his last 10 years, and then when he came out, and even after all the New York stuff, you're still sitting there defending him now. I saw all of your articles today where you all wrote all of the same little narrative that you write every time. I would hope that you would put just as much attention on the fact that that happened as you have on trying to assassinate my character over the last year. Thanks for your time.
Did something happen here a week ago, Jordan?
Now, his real name is Jordan, and even in the face of his life being threatened, he still rolls up calm and collected like Kratos, keeping his slapping hand primed and ready for these media cheeks. And it's not like his anger is misplaced. He has had very less than favorable articles written about him with a lot of labels attached to that, which I don't think are deserved when the entire purpose of Jordy's content recently has been exposing corruption at the highest level, which is an extremely important thing to be doing, where I feel he should be rewarded instead of vilified. But, you know, that's just me. I don't live in Australia here, but he has been treated very poorly by the people that are now standing outside of his home, showing no empathy at all, no sympathy at all, just trying to circle around like vultures on roadkill to get their scoop for their clicks. And he rightfully is upset at them and points out a bit of the hypocrisy surrounding it. I'd also like to add a bit of context surrounding Jordy's statement about the fixated people and terrorists statement he made in that clip. Well, it's because one of his producers was arrested by the unit that's supposed to be monitoring and stopping, like, terrorists, I guess. It's the Fixated Persons Unit. His producer was arrested for stalking. What a remarkable joke. It would almost be laughable if it wasn't so goddamn scary. He was arrested for stalking and intimidating when doing their reporting on the person that they were talking about by the goddamn department that's supposed to be about, like, you know, threats, like terrorist threats. Like, holy shit. That is mind-blowing. So Jordy's really does have every right to, of course, be upset. And obviously, after his house being firebombed like this, it's a fucking terrifying situation. He does very deep reporting. He exposes a lot of corruption, and I feel like he's probably one of the hardest-hitting journalists Australia has at the moment that I'm aware of. He's celebrated by a lot of Australians as well for all of his reporting, and now his life is in danger, and it's hard to say who's responsible for the attack. He mentions in the same clip that because he's been doing reporting on, you know, a lot of corruption at a very high level, it's hard to say who actually may have carried out the attack.
Obviously, we've done some extremely dangerous reporting over the last year, I suppose, of a bunch of extremely powerful people and corporations. There is many people that would want to do that. I obviously can't say who I suspect it is, but I do have like a short list in my head of who I think would have done it.
What a fucking horrifying situation for anyone to be in, and yet somehow Jordy's maintains a very composed demeanor. He continues joking throughout the rest of the video, even joking about the situation, and somehow staying, like, calm and collected, which is fucking baffling. The man is just built different. He's got tungsten throughout his body. It's fucking wild. Now, it doesn't matter how you feel about political opinions or whatever. I think everyone should be able to agree that his house being firebombed is outrageous. That's a huge problem, and it should result in a very thorough investigation that leads to people being arrested for this act. I think everyone should agree with that. But yeah, I want to mention that Jordy's also does have a Patreon if you want to directly support his content beyond just watching the videos. I'll go ahead and link that in the description below. And yeah, I think this is just terrible that it happened, and hoping for his safety in the future, and hoping they catch whoever was responsible for the firebomb attack. That's about it. So yeah. I remember the days when I was a young, naive little gremlin, still believing in things like the Tooth Fairy and the Boogeyman, and chocolate milk coming from brown cows, which, by the way, according to a survey conducted by the U.S. Dairy Innovation Center, about 7% of Americans still believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, which comes out to about 16.4 million Americans believing that. Of course, take that information with a grain of salt. I don't know how that data was collected, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if it's accurate. Go on the platform formerly known as Twitter for more than 5 minutes, and you'll realize that we have truly entered the stupid dimension. We are all citizens of Doofusville, and we're only getting more and more new neighbors coming in here. But what's causing all of this? It's like the Space Jam basketballs out there sapping away all of our intelligence. There's an idiot virus spreading, and it's infecting the minds of so many. Where's it coming from? I'll tell you, goddammit. It's It's the darn internet, the cyberspace. They tried to warn us about Y2K, but we didn't listen. While it may not have been the end of the world, it was the end of all rational thought. What I want to talk about today is a story involving an 11-year-old who followed a YouTube fake kidnapping challenge prank and got herself arrested. And this is a very serious offense. It's a fucking felony that this child believed was just a good, fun prank because they watched it on YouTube. So I want to talk about that story and then expand the scope a little bit bigger to internet trends and internet content genres that are legitimately just poisoning people's minds and setting them up for failure for the rest of their life. Since kids have unfiltered access to the internet because most parents don't want to do their job of being a parent anymore, they just put that responsibility on the internet to raise their kids. The onus of raising a child is now on the internet to make sure that it's perfectly curated so a kid can just endlessly scroll through the iPad while their parents do something else and they expect the kid to grow up to be some successful, well-adjusted person, which I don't think is going to be the case. It's just a sad situation all around. I don't even blame the kids. It's not their fault that their parents are absent and just sitting them in front of a screen for hours upon hours every day. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into the actual story here, and then we'll dive in a bit more.
The 11-year-old girl in this police body cam video is in a whole lot of trouble. She made a fake phone call to 911 saying her friend had been kidnapped. She later told cops she thought it would be funny. Well, they didn't laugh, admonishing her to never do this again.
The classic fake kidnapping prank. I can't believe the cops weren't laughing. Humorless, I tell you. Soulless, in fact. So, the fake kidnapping prank is a timeless classic on the internet. YouTube pranksters have been letting that one rip for many years now. For those that don't know, if the name wasn't a dead giveaway, you fake a kidnapping. Now, what a lot of kids don't realize is those pranksters that are doing that are faking the fake kidnapping. Everyone's usually in on it. The whole prank is fake. Most pranks online on TikTok and YouTube are faked for views, but children don't know that. Kids will believe pretty much anything they see or are told by someone that's older than them. You know, like St. Nicholas wiggling his ass down the chimney to deliver presents, you know? Like, kids aren't thinking that hard about what they're consuming online. So when they see a prank like that, they think that it's real and just like a good ha-ha, you know, side-splitting comedy thing, so this 11-year-old saw it and thought it would be a fun prank to do on their own.
She's accused of faking a kidnapping.
I'm not gonna do this again.
She thought it was funny and it was a joke and she couldn't get in trouble for it.
Police say the girl texted 911 to say that her friend had been abducted by a stranger in a white van.
Obviously, upon receiving texts about a kidnapping, the department responded, and it was all a complete fabrication. It was all a fib, a lie, a ruse, which is really detrimental to like the entire community there because it's wasting valuable resources from the department. Should an actual emergency come through and they already have like fucking 20 patrol cars deep looking for this kidnapping victim that doesn't exist, you've got yourself a problem. Now people that are in desperate need of help might not get it because the department's already occupied taking care of this fake situation. It's something you just don't fuck with, really.
The girl who gave a fake name said she was following the van on the interstate in another vehicle. For the next 30 minutes, she gave updates on the supposed kidnapping. He is tying her up, went one text. He's armed with a gun, said another. Hurry up, please.
You can talk to your parents.
They say she fessed up. She stated that she got the idea to prank 911 through a YouTube challenge and thought it would be funny.
So she was texting the officers with a play-by-play like she was John Madden here going through the situation on like this high-speed pursuit, none of which was real, of course. And then when the officers tracked down the phone number that put in all of these texts, that's when they realized that it was all just a complete fucking lie. And the 11-year-old fessed up to the crime and said that she got the idea from a YouTube challenge. I've said for years, like a broken record, how awful most pranksters online are. Not just in terms of the content being turbo shit, but also just because it really will raise a generation of kids that think that that's acceptable and good and okay. Like, for a little while, I was also naive, thinking like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be something that people will try and emulate. There was a period of time where I thought to myself that, you know, most people have to know these pranks are fake, so they're probably not going to bother doing this unless they're trying to be an internet douchebag as well. But I've really changed my stance on that thanks to TikTok proving me wrong so often, where pranksters that are faking pranks or these trends that go viral really do have like young people following them and either hurting someone or getting themselves hurt or just doing really degenerate, awful things. It's become very clear that the internet content that children are consuming does have a very big impact on how they view the world and reality and what they find to be acceptable and okay, and just it does have a real effect on the direction that they might take in life, especially now with the obsession for attention. Everyone is vying for internet clout. And a lot of kids growing up want to be YouTubers. That's like one of the main dream jobs that children want. And when they see prank channels getting huge views, they will try and emulate it and have tried to emulate it, and a lot of them never realizing that it's fake. So there's been many cases of them getting themselves or someone else hurt by trying to follow along with their favorite prank channels that they watched growing up. It's just an awful fucking cycle. I understand every internet prankster isn't a terrible person doing horrible things. I know this isn't every internet prankster, but you are eating some cinnamon toast cope if you don't think it's the majority of them. The vast majority of internet pranksters are like the orb of confusion from SpongeBob. When SpongeBob flips that bitch on and it just makes everyone around them dumber, that's most internet pranksters. Just this presence that makes everyone dumber for just even being exposed to it.
Her father was really upset.
You're going to take this as a lesson at 11 years old that if you do something stupid in the future, you're going to enjoy those cuffs.
I'm not going to do this again.
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood.
We had a massive police response. What happens if we crash into somebody and somebody loses their life?
The dad seems to really understand the gravity of the situation. He's not making any excuses for the behavior, at least not in this very short clip here. But he is right. This will be a lesson. And actually, I've mentioned this on stream before. This is a lesson I also learned when I was young, but not because of any prankster or any challenge that I followed when I was a kid. There was a point where we went to a pool for a field trip and there was a payphone nearby and we were just doing like fake calls to our friends and saying silly things. It was all make-believe. But what I didn't realize is 911's free on a payphone, so I dialed 911 and immediately started going into like silly things and making claims about the pool being like haunted or on fire or something. And they did show up. And boy, let me tell you, I felt fucking horrible. That was... My jaw has never hit the floor harder than when the police actually showed up with a fire truck. That was a huge lesson to me. I didn't mean to dial a false report, and I certainly would have never done that on purpose or as some kind of joke. I was dumb and had no idea that 911 was a free call. Point is, the dad is right. This will serve as an invaluable lesson, I imagine, and hopefully she'll never do any kind of shit like this again, and hopefully anyone else that sees this story will realize that it's just completely unacceptable and that pranks shouldn't just be, you know, taken at face value and followed along with at home.
The child was charged with making a false police report, which is a felony, and misuse of 911. That's a misdemeanor.
So it does actually sound like they are charging her with a felony and misdemeanor for this situation here. So this is a very big deal. That's a lot of trouble to get in over a YouTube challenge. Now, interestingly enough, this isn't the only fake kidnapping that happened even just over the last 2 weeks. A massive case of a fake kidnapping. I talked about it on stream, but I haven't talked about it in a video. I was waiting for like the whole thing to kind of wrap up, but I'll just go ahead and mention it here because it's very much in line with what happened with this. There is a woman named Carly Russell who led police on a wild goose chase about a kidnapping that never happened. She stated that she saw a toddler on like the side of the interstate and then like pulled over to try and, you know, help save the toddler, and then ended up getting kidnapped for a couple days. And it turned out to be all just complete baloney, just absolute horseradish. Nothing about it was true. She even admitted it was all a lie, but she hasn't been charged yet. So I'm wondering when those charges are going to come, especially now since the precedent is being set that any kind of like false reports, especially something that requires a massive department response like a fucking kidnapping, is going to be a, you know, no punches pulled kind of situation. Like, they're charging the 11-year-old here, so I imagine she's also going to get charges as well. It's just a matter of time. But this is just a fucking crazy situation we're in, where so often now these YouTube challenges and pranks and trends are getting people hurt, killed, or ruining their lives. It's fucking sad. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's it. So yeah, I'm not Scooby-Doo, but I'm still sniffing for clues, and I'm picking up a big whiff of something fishy. It's stinky out here. I've been smelling something foul. With all of these airplane freakouts that have been happening recently, I don't understand what is going on. It's getting wild. There have been an abnormally large amount of plane freakouts with passengers going berserk on airlines. It only has been like 2 weeks since this video hit the internet and took it by storm. This is the video of the woman who gets up out of her seat and says, "That motherfucker is not real," pointing to another passenger on the plane, and everyone turns their head to look, expecting to see like a T-1000 Terminator, but no one saw anything, and then she got off the plane. This photo here has actually become more famous than the fucking photo of the Wright brothers' first airplane. This is now one of the most well-known photos in aviation history, I'd argue. But anyway, this is not an isolated incident. When I talked about this when it first happened, there had actually already been another case of someone having a similar freakout where they got mad at a passenger they were sitting next to and then even tried to like charge the door of the plane to open it and get out. And now yet another video just came out from this year of another passenger having a very similar freakout, saying that a passenger on the plane was a robot and recharging their batteries and saying like the plane's gonna go down, and it was another like big scary moment on the airline. And this is 3 in a very short period of time when I'd never seen anything like this before. It's not like plane freakouts never happened. Of course, there's always been like irate passengers and having like meltdown moments on planes. But all of these are like sharing similar character traits with each other in terms of what they're freaking out about. And they're all over the globe, which is super odd. Not that I think there's any kind of grand conspiracy here, but it just makes me really wonder what's gone on to cause this level of panic on flights. Now, I do understand that maybe some of these are related to psychosis, which is a very serious thing, and that's definitely no laughing matter. That's very sad. But I do also wonder what else could come into play here, because it's not like all of a sudden psychosis is a new thing. So is it just we're recording more often and people are seeing it, being exposed to it more often, or if it really is increasing in frequency, and if so, why? I got really deep into this fucking rabbit hole for some reason, and it led me to something called railway madness. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this. When the railways were still pretty new, there were reported instances of completely normal people going on railroad cars and freaking out and like getting violent and aggressive and just going ballistic while the carts were in motion. And then when they stopped, they went back to normal. So for a brief period of time, there was a number of people that thought trains were causing damage to people's brains and flipping this switch that had them go wild. Kind of like the plot to the first Kingsman movie, where like a certain frequency turned them into like absolute killing machines that were just fucking attacking each other. But of course this isn't a real thing. Trains weren't causing damage to their brain and turning them into like, you know, lunatics slapping each other around or anything like that. But as I understand it, there was just a very weird case of some people just going kind of nutty on trains and getting aggressive and freaking out. And now it seems like we're having something similar happen with airplanes in the modern age here. Now, of course, this is only 3 viral instances of it happening. That's not exactly scientifically significant. It's not indicative of some kind of pandemic sweeping the globe of people going crazy on planes or anything like that. But it is just a weird thing that I wanted to talk about because it's happened so many times in such a short period of time. As you discussed the clip of the woman freaking out on the airplane. Man, you are super late to that one. But you did just remind me of something else that happened on an airplane that Matt sent me earlier. Apparently, a guy had a big freak out on a plane claiming that he is stuck in a time loop. And that he experienced this 6 times already. That the plane was gonna crash. I don't know what's going on with planes though, but look, assuming this is a correct translation, they're a hollow earth inhabitant. I don't know if we're just filming things more often and crazy plane freakouts have always been common, or if this is just a rising phenomenon. But it is happening frequently now. What do you even say to calm them down? Don't listen to the time loop guy. We gave him way too much alcohol. Sorry. Please don't listen to time loop. I don't even know what you say to calm everyone down. I'd be freaking out if this happened on a plane I was on. I'd be losing my goddamn mind. Like, all rational thought would go out the window. Be like, oh my god, there's a time looper in here. We're doomed. He's seen it all. Fuck. Oh god. I'd be running up and down the aisle. Oh my, yeah. I'd lose it. I'd fucking lose it. Well, he wasn't telling the truth. The plane landed. It didn't crash. But maybe he had just broken the cycle. Maybe that was the key. Cycles 1 through 5, he tried, like, very odd ways of fixing it, like flying the plane himself, all kinds of different things, erecting a force field, perhaps. And then on the 6th cycle, he tried just going full-blown Insano style, and that was the secret. Saved their life and not even respected. Heroes often aren't. What if he's actually telling the truth and we'll never know? What if the pilot came out and said that him freaking out made them slightly look to recalibrate? That's probably what happened, and then everybody clapped. Remember the guy who aggressively wanted to shake people's hands? That guy was cool. That wasn't a time looper. That guy was just a professional handshaker. He was a grip inspector, and he was going around making sure everyone's handshake was nice and firm. So it seems like there's only one write-up here from a reputable source. Footage from Chinese social media shows an airline passenger melting down earlier this year. He said he was caught in a time loop, and this was his 6th cycle. The flight... I'll just pull it down. The flight already crashed, and everyone died, but he's returned to this point and was warning everyone. He said they were destined for the same fate as the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. According to the passenger, one of the crew members wasn't human. She was a robot who was changing her battery, and that everyone needed a reset because their jobs are slavery and they were being paid money for dark reasons. The flight was canceled. Too many passengers were freaked out by the incident, and the passenger was arrested and sent to a medical facility. Oh, so they weren't even in the air yet. I thought this happened in the air. Also, this is so interesting. Another one of these "this motherfucker isn't real" moment. She was a robot who was changing her batteries. So yeah, hey, maybe he really did save them. Maybe that plane would have went down if he didn't go fucking ballistic here. What's your ideal time loop scenario? I don't think there is one. A time loop is worthless. Time travel is what means the most. That's most helpful. There's no way to prove him wrong. You are correct. Clear sign of psychosis. Find it sad people are making this guy into a spectacle. Yeah, I think that's very clearly psychosis. What's interesting, though, is that this has now happened 3 times this year. Well, 3 times in the last month. What was the third one? The guy coming back from the rave. And he tried, like, opening the door after shouting at his seat sidekick. The passenger next to him. Started shouting and freaking out at him and then tried opening the door mid-flight. Millions of people in a time where everything gets shared seems about right. That's what I was wondering. If it's just a matter of we're all filming everything now, so the freakouts get eyes on them, and it's always happened since the history of aviation, or if there really is a big wave of mental illness coming through. COVID fucked up a lot of people. Yeah, maybe the isolation had some kind of huge effect on people's psyche. Perhaps. In the modern landscape of the cyberspace, you need to get creative when it comes to promoting your brand or your product. And I want to introduce you to a lady who's on the front lines of innovation, a true pioneer, to promote her OnlyFans. Her name is Camilla, and she's been making headlines this week because of one very degenerate marketing strategy she had for her OnlyFans work. And every headline reporting this called her the girl from Mr. Beast's Squid Game. Which was really baffling to me because I didn't recall there being like some kind of front and center superstar girl from the Mr. Beast Squid Games, so I looked into it, and apparently She had like a very brief appearance in that video, and a bunch of curious coomers looked her up praying she had an OnlyFans, and it kind of blew her up, and then eventually she answered all of their prayers by making the OnlyFans, and now her entire Instagram is dedicated to promotional material just for that. It's all her Instagram is. All she does is try and lead people to that content. A pretty interesting X-Men origin story for Camilla, and I can't help but notice some shades of familiarity between her story and mine. As all of you know, I was front and center of the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 with my iconic performance as District 8 hospital helper, and that experience helped elevate and propel my presence online. Very similar to her start. However, our paths diverged, whereas she went to showing her butthole, I went to talking about butthole. So on the forked road, we went our separate ways. And now she's making some weird choices when it comes to how she promotes her OnlyFans. So the one that got her in a lot of hot water is this one.
How does it feel to have a sister that has an OF? My friends always ask me if it's pink, but I don't really know what they mean by that. NANI? Do you know? Jesus Christ. Click the link in my bio. I can't.
It should be pretty obvious why this was disturbing and upsetting for most people. She's using her brother, who is a child, to promote her OnlyFans content. That is some twisted shit. So she has him say that his friends tease him and ask if it's pink, which is talking about her vagina. So she feeds him that line to say, asking about her beef curtains, so that way she can pretend to be shocked that he said it. And of course this is all complete with the Zoomer editing stock sound effect package, so there's constant fucking sound effects and jingling keys going off on every single action, which is beyond annoying. But it's just so weird to use a kid, your own brother, to promote your OnlyFans, and then have him say something about your pussy. Or rather, his friends say something about your pussy. It's so gross. And she just keeps doing it too, diving deeper and deeper into this unhinged lunacy, using her family as her main method of OnlyFans promotion. So she's brought on her cousins, apparently her grandparents too, though that one, there's a bit of a conspiracy there and we'll get to it. And she's used her brother in another follow-up video once this one blew up, once again trying to capitalize off it.
So this tweet's going viral on Twitter right now, so I figured I'd call my brother and just check on him, see how he's doing. It's not looking too good, so.
Honestly, I don't even want to fucking hear from you anymore. I'm blowing up on Twitter.
Bro.
I'm fighting for my life on my group chat, and so I better see myself in Disneyland by tonight, alright? I fucking hate you.
Click the link in my bio so I can take him to Disney. Bro, is he like actually even—
I actually feel really bad for the kid here because I do think there absolutely is some level of bullying that's probably happened to him as a result of that video blowing up. And it's not like he wanted to be the marketing mascot for his sister's OnlyFans content. That's just her depraved idea. And she's doing it again here, double dipping with this awful fucking idea of using her brother for OnlyFans promotion. I don't know who could ever think it's a good idea to have a child advertise porn for them. Like, there's no way that's legal. That's probably, like, actually a crime. That's probably illegal. I don't know if she does, like, full nudity and, like, full porn or anything like that, but even still, there's still no way that it's legal to have a child advertise potentially sexually explicit material. Like, there's just no way that that's allowed.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you since your, older cousin does OF?
One of my brother's older friends showed me a picture of something you posted.
NANI? How did that make you feel?
Just awkward at the moment.
Do you still love me?
Yes.
Love you.
She does a couple of these interviews with her family about her doing OnlyFans. Like, hey, how weird's it been now that I'm out here doing OnlyFans, right? Like, isn't that kind of pretty wacky, huh? Any stories to tell? And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, some people make jokes about it and, send some mean shit in a group chat. And she's like, oh, haha, but you still love me, right? And they're like, I mean, yeah, I guess. So I don't know why she thinks this is good advertising. It's just really uncomfortable. It's one thing to have a family that's totally supportive and okay with you doing that kind of content, and a totally different thing to bring them on camera and then ask them deep questions about OnlyFans and like, oh, well, what have you seen from my OnlyFans and what are people saying about my OnlyFans, relative, huh? Like, that's just weird. It's super weird.
What's the craziest reaction you've gotten from your older cousin having an OF?
People send me things in my group chat, like TikToks.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like really awkward and weird.
Are you embarrassed?
I don't even know. It's just like when they send it, it's like, whatever.
Do you still love me?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you'd ever want to not only ask your cousin these kind of questions, but then film it and then use it for marketing material for your OnlyFans. It just doesn't make sense. Why do you want them to talk about you being naked on OnlyFans? That's your cousin. I don't know. That is just really yucky. Like this whole idea she's running with here about bringing all of her family into her OnlyFans ads is so fucked up.
What's the freakiest thing you guys have ever done?
Well, the Chevy was,
Grandma! Earl! Grandma, you used to get...
And now this is where the tinfoil hat's coming on. So she calls them grandma in the video, and the caption says grandma and grandpa. So we're led to believe these are her grandparents that she's doing this very goofy, uncomfortable interview with here about their sexual escapades, you know. Grandma, Grandpa, when's the last time you two steamed ham, huh? When was the last time you did a little bedroom rodeo? And then she's like, oh, you used to get down and dirty, Grandma? Oh my goodness, why I never. Heavens to Betsy. And yeah, that's goofy, cringy kind of stuff, but it's not nearly as weird as having them turn around and just start plugging your OnlyFans. But then things take like a very sinister, incestual turn.
If you had 15 minutes with me, what would you do?
Always been curious what it'd be like to be with a woman.
If you had 15 minutes with me, what would you do?
well, you know,
And then she also has one where she does kiss or slap game with Grandmammy. Old Meemaw, would you rather kiss or slap her granddaughter's ass? It's so fucked up. So, the conspiracy is, those aren't her real grandparents. They're just actors. And I think that's probably the case. I can't imagine she would just go into incest proudly like this. That would be truly off the rails. So I imagine that they're actors. Which then begs the question, why? Why do this? It's still so creepy. Now, I'm pretty sure those are actors, but I don't think her cousins were, and I don't think her brother is. Like, I don't think you'd be able to hire a child to promote your sexually explicit material. That would 100% be beyond illegal. Like, she would be thrown in jail for that shit, I imagine, like, on the spot. So that's probably her real family there, but then she used her grandparents to continue doing this family OnlyFans kind of push, which is... it's so weird. Why would you want your family pushing your OnlyFans? And then, even bigger question, why would you want your child brother pushing your OnlyFans? This whole thing from Camilla is horrifying. It's so fucked up. It's so weird. So all of, like, the backlash she received isn't surprising, and she's still going. She's still doing this kind of shit. Like, these videos aren't that old at all. It's still continuously developing. Like, she is still engaged in this kind of content and these kind of marketing pushes. So yeah, I just wanted to share this with you because this is just a really creepy situation that I thought was just fucking weird. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. I've talked about this on stream, but I don't think I've ever made a full video going over it. I'm very confident that none of you watching this video right now will be able to guess my least favorite genre of content on the internet. This isn't like a pop quiz, this is a step above that. This is an SAT level question here. And I'm reading you like a book, I'm inside your mind. I've infiltrated your noodle like Charles Xavier. I bet all of you went to something simple and obvious, like, oh, his least favorite genre of content has gotta be pranks, or fake videos, cringe trends, scammers, and they're all great guesses. Of course, I do dislike all of that, but it's not my least favorite genre of content on the entirety of the cyberspace. That honor belongs to the douchebags that drive cars extremely fast and dangerously on public roads around other people, endangering their lives. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There's a group of losers online who come from very privileged backgrounds. Most of these people are like late teens, early 20s that come from mommy and daddy's money and never stop suckling on their tit to get as much dollars out of their family as they can. So these trust fund kids have these expensive cars and they flex by just driving them fast on like the interstate or even residential roads, and they just disregard every other vehicle on the road, weave around them, blow by them, whatever. Just caution to the wind, and obviously it's extremely dangerous, but it's also extremely boring. They're not doing anything impressive. They're not like fucking Dominic Toretto ramping a muscle car off of a parked tow truck like it's something out of GTA 5. They are actual just goobers, not even on manual transmission 9 times out of 10, just going around innocent people and going by them extremely fast. It's fucking stupid. It is legitimately like watching static on a television screen. It's just mind-numbing. So it's not only dangerous, but it's for literally no entertainment value at all. I guess for them it's like an adrenaline rush because they could die at any moment, because obviously they can at those speeds. But the reason I'm talking about this is because one of these assholes actually just went viral, and he's been getting dunked on ever since. And I've actually been following his Twitter since he popped off because I wanted to see what else he does, and this is his whole personality. All he does is drive his mom's BMW fast and recklessly. Wow, holy shit, that was epic. Did you see how fast he was going? On a straight road? Doing nothing, not even stick shifts, automatic transmission, he's Weenie Hut Jr. mode. It's like watching the world's most boring cutscene in a video game. That is this dude. That is this whole fucking community. So obviously a million things could have gone wrong here. Someone could have been trying to cross the street, someone could have been making a lane change, and he wouldn't have had time to stop at the speed he was going because it was over 100, and there would have been no survivors. He's also driving one-handed while filming with the other, which is just another thing to add to the laundry list of dog shit about this video. I've also seen this guy's arms, and I've got to tell you, he's got that fucking SpongeBob build, but without the anchor arms. I am shocked he even has the strength to open the door to this BMW to get inside of it. So I hate this shit. I hate this more than Garfield hates Mondays. This is my least favorite genre of content by far. He is not the only one doing it, obviously, but right now he is the proudest douchebag about it, and this went the most viral, so it's got people talking about it. He's also just this insufferable asshole in the comments who keeps flexing his parents' wealth on people, saying that anyone that dislikes this is just poor, and he openly recognizes that this is going to get him killed. This fucking guy is glued to his Twitter replies like a teenage girl on Instagram. He is replying to everyone, so I've actually got a pretty good handle on this dude's entire personality. He loves like Rainbow Six Siege and shit, and loves endangering the lives of innocent people around him. He has no remorse. He openly talks about how it doesn't bother him, and that when he does crash, it's probably going to lead to him dying. Though he did mention in one other case that if he does crash and survives, he'll probably just run away. What a stand-up guy. What an absolute gold star citizen right there. What a fucking hero. Now with this kind of content, it's just a ticking time bomb. It's really just a matter of when, not if, he crashes. So the best case scenario here, like the best outcome you can hope for, is that when he inevitably does crash, he doesn't take any lives with him. Just gotta hope for a single car accident. Maybe he even survives and learns from the experience, but the most important part is no one else is a victim of this guy's recklessness. This isn't the only video he's posted. Like I mentioned, he has posted another one 3 days ago doing the same thing but endangering more people's lives on the interstate. I forgot to mention, this imbecile actually has the audacity to watermark these videos. It's so laughably pathetic that he actually believes this is something to be proud of. So goddamn embarrassing. I don't know how the fuck you can be so delusional to think that this is something cool. It's also such a headache because I can't use my favorite Fast and Furious line of granny shifting, not double clutching like you should, because it doesn't apply to this guy because he's in automatic transmission again, you fucking worm. He's not even granny shifting. He probably doesn't even know what it means. But yeah, just another demonstration of douchebaggery here. Just weaving between cars. Most likely just families on the way home from school or work. How cool, I guess. Just putting them in danger. No matter how great a driver you are, and trust me, this guy is not a great driver, there are just some things you can't account for on the road, and that's other people. There is so much uncertainty when driving that you cannot actually have any power over. The other people on the road behind the wheel are always unpredictable, so driving recklessly around them is just a death wish. This kind of selfish clout goblin behavior, this look at me, I'm the main character kind of shit that leads to content like this is so fucking frustrating. It's so dumb. I can't stand it. And the most insulting part of all of it is he's putting everyone at risk around him, all of their lives in danger, for boring content too. It's not even entertaining content. It's not even like this is thrilling to watch. It's a fucking snooze fest. It's all of it, top to bottom, is complete trash. Absolute trash. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today, and that's about it. So yeah, it's finally here. Today's the day. Count your lucky stars and all your blessings that you were able to live long enough to experience this historic moment with me. The worst prank ever. An achievement that I don't bestow upon anything lightly, but once I go over this with you, I think you all agree. This is the worst prank that has ever been done. Behold the glory of the sucker punch prank, where a man on TikTok suffering from a terminal case of clout delusion is claiming that his series of attacks on strangers in a park is actually just part of his highbrow comedy series of pranks. I'll break the prank down for you because it's a pretty complicated one. So he went to a park and then sucker punched 2 strangers in the back of the head, and then threatened them with a gun, and then asked for one of their cell phones. Are you laughing? I mean, how could you not be? Haha. Really, timeless classic humor, really. I mean, that's a gut buster. That's some side-splitting comedy. He's been arrested for it, to no surprise, because he went up and just blatantly assaulted people and is calling it a prank. And then he even did an apology press tour, where he was interviewed after the fact. Let's go ahead and take a peek at it.
We're learning more about one of those social media pranks that is hardly funny.
A 19-year-old runs up on 2 unsuspecting people and sucker punches them in the back of the head.
Yeah,
this is not a prank. He just blatantly runs up and assaults 2 strangers while his friend is filming it.
Well, he's regretful. Honestly, I didn't expect him to answer the door, much less come out and talk. But tonight he says he regrets the behavior so many are now condemning online.
I'm not omniscient, but I'm going to tell you with 100% certainty, the only thing he's regretful of is that he's getting punished for it. That's it. He doesn't regret the actions.
Park, where he's accused of randomly punching strangers. Do you regret it?
Yes, I do.
19-year-old Alfred Lewis spoke with me about how he feels about it now.
You know, I just made a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes.
It's incredible how quickly that statement made me want to puke. I've never gone from feeling okay to ready to just expel bile like a fucking exorcism quicker than that statement. I've just made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. You fucking assaulted 2 strangers. They could have easily died from this. Blows to the back of the head are extremely dangerous. Sucker punches are extremely dangerous. You combine these 2 cowardly forces into this unholy fusion dance of degeneracy. What fucking mistakes are you talking about? This is planned, premeditated assault that you filmed the crime of. It's fucking crazy how dumb people have become. And dangerously dumb at that.
This is the video in question, first shared with KHOU 11 via the Nextdoor app. In it, you can clearly see Lewis striking a man in the head from behind before he turns around in shock.
Obviously, sucker punching is a super cowardly thing. I think the second you throw a sucker punch, you lose your right to call yourself a man. I think it is one of the single biggest bitch-made things you can do that instantly loses the respect of pretty much everyone in the world. But this guy takes it a step forward. This fucking coward not only throws a sucker punch, he throws it to the back of their head. Is there a single bigger pussy on the planet? I don't think so. I challenge you to find someone that's a bigger pussy than this guy, because not only is it a sucker punch, it's a behind-the-head sucker punch, which is, of course, the most dangerous punch you can ever throw. Blows to the back of the head are no laughing matter at all. It's extremely fortunate in this case that nobody ended up dead from this. What he's done is foul. It is downright sickening. It is, by all definitions, just an assault on 2 strangers that have done nothing wrong. Out of nowhere, just a completely random, unprovoked attack that they filmed. And I just have to point this out, the punches that he throws are the most pathetic punches that video cameras have ever had the misfortune of capturing in the history of moving pictures. It is unbelievable how awful these punches are. He throws it horizontally like this, and he like hits him with this part of his hand like he's trying to knock on a door. The reason that he brings a gun, I imagine, is because he knows if anyone tries to fight back after getting sucker punched by him, he would get his ass beaten and eaten. So he brings the gun as a deterrent so he doesn't end up getting fucked up. But I still can't get over these pitiful little patty cake punches that he tosses out there. They're not even knuckle sandwiches, because he doesn't use his fucking knuckles. They're like, Weenie Hut Juniors. Like Sloppy Sally's. Like, I don't even know what you'd call a punch like that. It looks like he's starting to go for like a classic motorboat move, where like a stripper throws her tits around like this, but he throws it as like a punch. It's fucking crazy.
I know, like, from the video, all you see is like the bad part about it, but what people didn't see was that I shook his hand after and how I had gave the man a hug.
By hug, are you referring to the chokehold you put one of them in after you asked for their cell phone, threatening them at gunpoint?
He initially held the complainant at gunpoint. Then, when the complainant refused to give up his cell phone, he hits the complainant in the head and puts him in a chokehold.
His statement here actually had me pause the video the first time I watched it and sit back and just reflect on the state of the world. This guy just said, you only see the bad parts about my assault. You didn't see the good stuff, where we shook hands after and I gave him a hug. What the fuck? What in the world? Oh my goodness gracious. That was a real statement said by him. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. Just let that stew for a second. After I sucker punched this guy, threatened him with my gun, put him in a chokehold, we shook hands. We were totally fine. He understood it was just a prank. I mean, I said it was just a prank, bro. Yeah, like, let's play with this for a moment. Hey, so I went up and I stabbed this guy for my TikTok prank, but don't worry, it was, of course, in a non-vital spot. He's going to live, and we ended up becoming really good friends, and I kissed him on the lips, you know, pat him on the ass, and told him, get to a hospital, buddy, and thanks for being a part of the content. It's fucking wild. This whole idea of, like, public assault as a prank is something everyone on the internet has made a joke about because of how extreme pranksters have been getting with just becoming either public nuisances or doing public assault on strangers. He's not the first one to do this, he's just the first one to do it in this way, with actually just beating people up in public and calling it a prank. And it's something everyone has joked about, saying like, yep, that's the trajectory we're on, and we're there. Hey, we did it, we made it. We're at the point where now sucker punching and threatening people with a gun is something that I guess some people on TikTok view as a prank.
That is something we cannot verify, nor can we confirm that another man seen in the video getting punched and grabbed later left on good terms, according to Lewis.
I really didn't expect for it to just go so left, you know?
I mean, honestly, who could have seen this coming? I don't think there's anyone out there that could have predicted this outcome. You know, what, you can't just punch strangers in the back of the head anymore without people getting all up in arms and upset about it? Pfft, God, we've all become so soft now. I could have never imagined this would go so left.
And your mom's probably disappointed.
Yeah, she is.
Lewis said the harsh reaction to the video will make him rethink his behavior and hopefully be a lesson for others.
Before you go out and you do anything that you feel is bad or that could look bad, make sure like people know, or just don't do it at all.
It's a lesson I don't think anyone in the world needed to learn, because we all know that. We're born with that knowledge. We know not to just run up on complete strangers and brutally fucking assault them by hitting them in the back of the head with a sucker punch. I think everyone knows that. Like, you have to override that intrinsic trait that we're all born with. The only lesson here is that this guy and his friend are extraordinarily stupid and they need to go to jail for what they've done. You assaulted two strangers, threatened them with a gun, you need to go to prison for that. You can't do that. It's illegal. That's the lesson. Full stop. There's nothing about like, well, if you're about to do something that could make you look bad, maybe don't do it. It's not that. You did something bad. It didn't just make you look bad, you did something very bad. And now you should face the punishment for it. That's the lesson. That's the only lesson here. But I want to point something out. We just reached an extremely dangerous milestone in our development as a species. Like, the level of brain rot and mind poison that people are experiencing now has started to convince at least some people that sucker punching and pulling a gun out and threatening someone with it is not a crime, it's a joke. And they'll do it for social media attention. You remember Y2K, like the fear that the world's ending in the year 2000, technology's gonna come and fuck us in the butt while we're all sleeping, it's the end of it? Well, maybe they weren't super wrong. They just had the calendar miscalibrated. You know, they didn't, adjust it properly to account for daylight saving time, the angle azimuth, all those calculations. Maybe they meant it in this way, where in 2023 years after the death of Jesus Christ, we have reached the point where technology is turning people's brain into fucking mush, and it's turning them into monsters that will just assault people because it could get them attention online. Just food for thought. Maybe Y2K wasn't the most outlandish thing ever. Who really knows? But yeah, I mean it when I say, this is the worst prank I have ever seen now. Without question. That's about it. See ya.